Hello everyone and welcome to Foil Friday. How's it going everyone? Hope you had a wonderful week and I hope you're ready to get your weekend started. But before that, it's time to get into some fabulous tinfoil. Today we have all sorts of conspiracies, including a quick update from our old friend Peter. So, should be good. Should be good. We are playing bingo, so make sure you get your bingo cards ready. If you're interested in playing, you can use the bingo command, !bingo, with no space. First winner gets a gift sub. So yeah, we're good. I don't think we have any housekeeping. I think we're good today. Cool. Easy. I love when it's easy. It's so nice. You just get to come on and have fun. Don't have to think about anything. I'm gonna forget. Cool. Aaliyah Explorers, thanks for a 38-month streak, says 38 months and a Peter update. I know. Very exciting. Amber Pretzels, thanks for 27 months, says, save me from my 8-hour shift. I'll do my best. I'll at least try and make it bearable for the next 3 or so hours. That's a sub baby, by the way. This sub baby's name is going to be Fillmore Butts. Fillmore Butts. Aaliyah Explorers, thanks for gifting a sub. And that gets us to 333 subs towards our 500 sub goal for the month. That's almost a Freemason number. How's it going? How you doing, Ash? Hope you're doing well. Make sure you get your, bingo. You're right, 36 was also a sub baby, wasn't it? Oh, no, it's 38. It was 38 months, not 36. I'm not crazy. 2 months difference. We should probably remove Nibiru soon. Hey, some of the spaces need to be rare. Not every space is equally, like, likely to come up. That's how this bingo works. Sometimes you get a card with a weird one. Mallow Honey, thanks for a 7-stream streak. Nibiru did come up the other day in a thing I watched, oddly enough. It's funny that sometimes stuff comes up in videos I don't watch on stream. Like, Nibiru will come up sometimes, Force Feminization will come up sometimes in videos that I'm not watching on stream. And I'm like, damn. But they're not good enough for stream, that's why you don't see them here. Obviously, I watch things twice sometimes. What's Nibiru? Nibiru is also known as Planet X. It's a conspiracy theorist based on an old scientific hypothesis that thought that there was a secret 10th planet. Now, this is when we still considered Pluto a planet, bear in mind, so we already had 9 at the time. They thought that there was this 10th planet called Nibiru. Why Nibiru? I don't know why they named it that, but someone did. And conspiracy theorists continued to believe this and think aliens live there, or other weird things, that it's going to crash into Earth at some point. The reason that they believed this at one point, by the way, was because of gravitational something. Had something to do with orbital mechanics, but then they figured out some other reason that it was like that, and it no longer necessitated the theorizing of a 10th planet. Kurt Mulgrew, thanks for 22 months, says good afternoon. Good afternoon to you as well. Hope you're doing well. Hope you had a good week. 75% to level 1 on the hype train. We are on a hype train. While we're doing that hype train, let's go ahead and get into this first video, which is about Dragon Ball. I mean, no, I'm in caricature right now. I hate anime. Why would I almost say I like Dragon Ball? That's a very out-of-character thing for Hannah to do. Why would I say that? Strike that, reverse it. Unstable Deadbeat, thanks for gifting 5 tier 1 subs. Stone Corbell, thanks for gifting a sub. Hannah regrets something she just said on the bingo card because it was out of character.
What's good, everybody?
Hawk says, hello one and all and happy Friday, y'all.
Today we're diving into the legacy and impact of an individual whose work mesmerized young audiences worldwide. Through his legendary animated series Dragon Ball, which emerged in the mid-80s, Akira Toriyama captured the imaginations of countless children and teenagers, myself included. With the series still held in high regards with no signs of slowing down, it was a shock to the world when news broke that the creator of the Dragon Ball series had suddenly passed away shortly after we ushered in the Year of the Dragon. Of course, some may dismiss that as, a mere
I actually didn't know that. That is a coincidence, obviously, but, like, appropriate, I guess. Sad that he died, but kind of poetic.
coincidence, and hey, do you. But like usual, I'm going to break this story down using the practice of English
There are only so many years of the insert animal here. It was gonna happen on some year.
gematria. For those that might be new, gematria originates from Jewish mysticism, and it's an
Gematria on the bingo card.
ancient practice utilized as a concealed code by those who understood its intricacies. English gematria involves encoding numbers into each letter of the 26-letter alphabet.
AKA the worst code ever. This is literally the kind of code you get in, like, middle school or elementary school spy kits. Ooh, it's a number cipher. 1 equals A.
Assigning numerical values to words and phrases. These values are frequently intertwined with date numerology, revealing intriguing patterns that offer an alternative viewpoint on the narrative at hand. So with that said, let's get to know a little bit more about Mr. Toriyama.
Any anime fans are gonna have to, like, if anyone knows specifically incorrect things he gets about Akira, I don't know about him. I know about Dragon Ball, the series. I've seen the entire Dragon Ball series to break the anime hate joke for a second. I do like Dragon Ball. I've seen the entirety of Dragon Ball, not seen the entirety of Dragon Ball Z, but I can cover some plot points if need be, but I don't know anything about the creator's backstory or the manga, so.
Hey yo, quick disclaimer, I'm probably gonna mispronounce some stuff, so bear with me here. Akira Toriyama was born on April 5th, 1955 in Nagoya, Aichi Prefecture, but was raised by his parents in Kiyosu, Aichi Prefecture, along with his older sister. In Kiyosu, where Akira spent his formative years, was then a largely rural area just outside Nagoya. Since young,
I'm not a weeb. I dated an anime fan previously and had to sit through the entirety of Dragon Ball.
he'd always had a passion for drawing and
I also saw a decent amount of Full Metal Alchemist, saw some Attack on Titan, One Punch Man.
was
I liked some, didn't like others. Depends.
influenced by the early productions of Disney. Akira's fascination with comics and cartoons was evident. However, as he entered his primary school years, his interest waned, shifting towards the allure of live-action movies, particularly westerns, war films, and science fiction, with little idea that he'd one day fuse the best of both worlds. Akira enrolled in a technical high school in Nagoya, eager to delve into the world of design and drawing, despite his parents' wishes for him to pursue higher.
Full Metal Alchemist and a little bit of Brotherhood, but not as much Brotherhood. Because she watched Full Metal Alchemist first, and then later watched Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, but we were already kind of, like, starting to break up by then. It was already kind of like, so, like, I didn't see as much of that.
Education, Toriyama made a bold decision after completing high school and decided to opt out of university and dive straight into the workforce.
Thank you, Phoenix.
At the age of 20, Akira landed his first job as an in-house graphic designer at a modest advertising firm in Nagoya. However, the routine of the job began to wear on him, prompting his resignation just 2.5 years later. In 1977, Toriyama found himself in search of new opportunities when he stumbled upon the monthly Young Jump Award, a manga contest sponsored by Japan's largest manga publishing company. Entering the contest twice,
Thanks for the hype train, everyone.
Toriyama's submissions.
Okay, I'm a little confused by the nomenclature of manga. I'm familiar with the term, like, Jump comics. Is this a brand or genre in Japan? Is Jump Comics a company or a genre?
A Wawa
Like Tokusatsu, for instance, would be like action, special effects, genre stuff in film in Japan.
World in
Shonen Jump is a company.
1977
Jump is a company. Okay, thank you. That helps.
and Mysterious
Shonen is a genre. Jump is the publisher.
Rainjack
Shonen Jump. Gotcha.
1978 failed to secure victory. Despite the setback, a call from Kazuhiko Torishima, an editor at Shueisha's weekly Shonen Jump, breathed new life into Toriyama's aspirations. Encouraged by Torishima's words, Akira persisted and eventually had his breakthrough with Wonder Island, his first published manga, featured in Weekly Shonen Jump's issue 52 in 1978. Now, while it didn't immediately captivate audiences, Akira remained undeterred. The following year, Akira pitched several new manga projects only to face rejection. Despite this challenging period, a glimmer of hope emerged with minor success of Tomato Girl Detective in 1979.
He really likes to name characters after objects and food, doesn't he? What's up with that? Hookah, thanks for 300 bits.
Igniting Akira's determination to succeed.
Benikagami says, hello all listening while playing Shadow of, Urge Tree. I'll back you up, Hannah, though. Fun fact, Toriyama was the mentor of Kentaro Miura, author of Berserk. When Miura was 15, and when he saw Miura's early sketches of character that would be Guts, they were so good, Toriyama went to the publisher and said, I don't know why this kid's here. There's nothing I can teach him. Akira got Miura fired for being too good at his job, and then we got Berserk.
January of 1980, Akira Toriyama
Shouju Beat was the girls' version? Okay.
soared to new heights with his new manga masterpiece, Dr. Slump. Published in Weekly Shonen Jump from January 1980 to August 1984, the series catapulted Toriyama into the spotlight, spanning 18 tankobon volumes and garnering widespread acclaim. As Dr. Slump gained in popularity, Toriyama's mailbox overflowed with letters of encouragement from fans. During the years 1981 to 1984, he delved into creating numerous short comics, including the notable Pola and Roid, which earned him the title of the Best Shonen Jump Manga Artist in 1981. Additionally, Pink in 1982 further showcased his creative talent. Amidst his flourishing career, Toriyama found love. In 1982, while illustrating the wedding of Dr. Slump characters Senbei Norimaki and Midori Yamabuki, Toriyama himself tied the knot with Shoujo manga artist Nachi Mikami. Following their marriage, Mikami stepped away from her own career. Again, I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing these names. The accolades continued to pour in for Toriyama. In 1982, Dr. Slump clinched the prestigious Shogakukan Manga Award for the Best Shonen or Shoujo Manga Series of the Year, solidifying Toriyama's status.
Wow, I feel like he spent most of this just getting into fucking the history of it, and he's barely getting into the conspiracy. I'm gonna get to the conspiracy part, because he's just doing a Wikipedia page read, basically.
The creator of Dragon Ball, one of the most influential and best-selling Japanese comics, has died at the age of 68. Akira Toriyama was 68. An official statement said he'd suffered a blood clot on the brain. Dragon Ball was first serialized 40 years ago.
On the 8th of March 2024, it was announced that the creator of the Dragon Ball series, Akira Toriyama, had died due to a brain injury by the name of acute subdural hematoma. Reading from the Clinic.org, it states that acute subdural hematoma
Subdermal! Oh no, it is subdural. Now I'm the asshole.
is the
internet for you.
most
You
dangerous
say something confidently like an asshole because you think you're right, and then you're wrong. And then you're the asshole.
type. The symptoms are severe and appear right after a head injury, often within minutes to hours. Pressure on your brain increases quickly as the blood pools. If you're not diagnosed and treated quickly, you could lose consciousness, have paralysis, or even die. After skimming through several headlines, I found no mention of him suffering from a head injury. Thus, it's probable that the incident occurred suddenly, and maybe they're trying to keep it under wraps. Others even suspect that it was
not
due
really anyone's business necessarily.
to the JAB in the side.
Oh fuck. If I'd known this was gonna have anti-vax stuff, I probably would have skipped it. I'm so tired of the anti-vaxxers. I know it's important to continually push against them, but I'm just exhausted with people desperately, like, attempting to stop people from taking life-saving medicine. Just very tired of it.
Side effects that come with it. So naturally, this raised suspicion among fans who perceived the situation as rather peculiar. Many left wondering if there's more to the story than meets the eye. Of course, many already spotted an interesting connection between the Year of the Dragon beginning just 20 days before the death of the creator of the show, Dragon Ball, but using gematria, I'll point out some.
So there was a 1 in 12 chance. That happens. You roll a 12-sided die and you pick a number. Eventually it's going to come up what you guessed.
Other interesting patterns surrounding his death, and I'll leave it up to you guys to make your own conclusions. First up, let's start with Akira's.
I don't know if I'd consider that chemical fear-mongering. That's more if they directly say, like, oh, we gotta watch out for chemicals in our food as a general platitude. That's more specific to the vaccine and anti-vax stuff. Breaches and Hose says, Toriyama also did character art for one of my favorite game series, Dragon Quest. Oh yeah, that makes sense. Okay. Fenikagami says, Shonen's not a genre, it's an age category, specifically for boys aged 11 to 14. Any manga anime that's created for this demographic is considered shonen. Shoujo is the equivalent for girls. Jump is the publisher that creates a periodical release for a few chapters of multiple stories to basically act as advertising for standalones of the series. Unfortunately, any shonen that failed to stay in the Jump releases usually die before completion. Oh.
Age of death. Akira died at the age of 68 years old, which I noticed had some connections to him as a person. For example, he's widely known as a Japanese manga artist, and for those that don't know, manga is basically the Japanese word for comic. It's interesting to note that this phrase holds the value of 68, which matches his age.
Is not that interesting. Again, what he's doing is using gematria, not real gematria, but conspiracy gematria, numerology on the bingo card. There are different kinds. There's the kind where, like, A equals 1, B equals 2, C equals 3, etc. They also have reverse gematria, where 1 equals Z, 2 equals Y, 3 equals X, so on. They have different versions of this, and they just try each version until they get the number they want. Pretty unfortunate. It's just wrong.
At the time of his death. Additionally, I found it odd that his team waited a week before publicly announcing his death, which coincided
Why?
with March 8th, the 68th day of the year. March 8th is also an interesting day. Granted, it's written as 3/8, resembling 38, a number we'll touch on real.
That's only how it's written in the United States. Virtually every other country writes it day, month, year, not month, day, year. Very America-centric here.
Soon. Still on the topic of his age, you could see that his full name, Akira Toriyama, equates to 92, matching the first.
Gematria is inherently the Texas sharpshooter fallacy. That's generally how it's used, yes. They'll plug in whatever form of gematria that they want, and they'll just keep doing it until they get the result that they're looking for, or a result that they can interpret as significant. J. Rodimus says, oh, it looks like you accidentally hit enter. You can retype that and I'll read it. I know you already gave the bits, so you don't have to do bits again. Just type it correctly. Profane Priestess, hi Amber, how's it going? Says, he was just shy of 70 years old. Is it really that shocking that he injured himself or got sick and died? Sure, he was young enough that it's sad, but it's not so young enough that it's shocking. People die. Why does there need to be a conspiracy? I think we're in a weird place where, like, some people live to be, like, 100, you know? I've met 100-year-olds who are still in pretty good shape for being 100, but then you do absolutely have people dying, you know, like, late 60s, early 70s, happens commonly. So there's a pretty big difference. There's, like, a 30-year difference between, like, when you see someone who does live to 100 doing okay, versus someone who dies at, like, 60-something or 70, it throws you off. Because you don't think about the average. 70-something is the average age people die, and I know average doesn't mean, like, median, it's the mean, but still, I think people overestimate it because even though we recognize plenty of people die in their 60s and even younger, we always exempt ourselves and the people we care about. We always think the best and hope, well, people can live to, like, 100 now, so of course I and my loved ones will be those people. I just think it's a thing that you selectively do. 70 feels young if it's someone you care about, either socially or parasocially, even though it's not real.
phrase animated series, which he's known for creating, and his age of death when spelt out as such. Next, upon looking at the day Akira passed away, it so happened to be the 61st day of the year. And what are the odds that his full name in the full reduction cipher, otherwise referred to as the most pure cipher, equates to—
How many words did you put in before you got this? I assume you typed like anime, cartoon, all sorts of things until you got animated series. 2 separate words that you put together and added to get this? That's what I'm saying. They just do stuff until they get the numbers they want.
to 61, along with the phrase animated series, which again we just discussed that he's most known for creating. Moving on, you
Trey says there's also an idea that famous people in their lives are chosen. Yeah.
could see how the word dragon equates to 31, which is similar to how the date he died is written. March 1st, written 3/1
Again, that's not how they write it in Japan, where he lived.
in most parts of the world. But again,
What do you— No, not in most parts of the world. What? No, most parts of the world it is not that way. What?
kicker here is that he not only is known for his
There we go. J. Rodimus said, me when he said fans were suspicious. I was honestly really appalled by that, because I was devastated. No conspiracies. I was just sad. Wait a minute, you're telling me a conspiracy theorist said people were saying something and it wasn't true, and they were just trying to make their claims seem less ridiculous by acting as though other people hold them? Shocked Pikachu face.
Speak for yourself, motherfucker!
Dragon Ball series, emphasis on the word dragon, but he just so happened to die during the year of the dragon. So
Again, that's like a 1 in 12 chance. That happens. Sorry, Fenekagami. Fenekagami said, fun fact, mangas are directly inspired by American comics. Early mangaka used to read comics left behind by American soldiers after World War II. He served as their inspirations. The creator of Astro Boy, who's considered the grandfather of all anime, cited the Scrooge McDuck comics as his inspiration. We can blame Disney for the creation of anime.
something that only happens every 12 years, but hey, it could just
The most commonly used date format in Japan is year, month, day. Okay.
be a wild coincidence, but I myself personally don't really believe in coincidences. Now,
That doesn't even make sense. You don't believe in 2 things happening at the same time by chance that you find significant? That doesn't make any sense. That doesn't even make sense to say you don't believe in coincidences. Of course coincidences happen. That's the nature of statistics. That's the nature of reality. What in the world?
I was saying earlier how the date March 8th is interesting because of how it's written as 3/8, like the number 38. Which, if you're familiar with my channel, you know it's the death number, often appearing in these death
Is
headlines in some way, shape, or form.
I don't remember ever hearing another conspiracy theorist say 38 was a death number.
In Akira's case, the news of his death was announced on March 8th, and intriguingly, the word death in the ordinal cipher equates to 38. What's even more fascinating is that the first episode of his most impactful series, Dragon Ball, was released in Japan on February 26, 1986. Remarkably, the span of time from that initial release to his passing amounted to exactly 38 years. This
See what I mean? They just find different numbers and add a bunch or subtract a bunch to try and find a combination of numbers that gives them the number you want. You're a human being. You have a brain with pattern recognition. You can do basic addition and subtraction. If you get enough of an opportunity, you can make connections, because that's one of the things your brain does really well. It doesn't mean those connections are inherently significant. You've given them significance by acting as though these are special when you picked them out. You did this.
calculation is far from arbitrary. It's
It
rooted in
is. This is completely arbitrary.
the significance of the show's launch, making a monumental milestone in his career. These patterns often align with pivotal moments in the lives of influential figures, shedding light on the interconnectedness of events. I also noticed that the titles of his 2 major comic series both had a connection to the number 41 in the reduction ciphers, matching his first name Akira. But oddly enough, the Year of the Dragon began on February 10, 2024, which so happened to be the
They're not even using the same kind of gematria for all of these. This one's reduction, then the other two are reverse reduction. They're even mixing the kinds of gematria to get them to equal out. You see what they're doing here? Am I explaining this well enough? Aaliyah Explores says, I'm too bad at math to be a conspiracy theorist. Good.
41st day of the year. Yet another connection between Akira and the Chinese zodiac sign widely observed by the Japanese. Now, I couldn't think of a more fitting slide to end off on other than some pure numerology for the newbies out there. Now, this is something that we've talked about in the past, but in the Asian regions, the number 4 is widely known to be an unlucky number, mainly because of the similarities between the number 4 and the pronunciation of the word death, whether it be Chinese Mandarin, Korean, Vietnamese, or Japanese. The pronunciation of the number 4 and death are very similar, giving it a bad omen. Unfortunately for the Japanese legend Akira Toriyama, he died on a date with 4 numerology, being March 1st, 3 + 1. Personally,
Ah, yes, how you normally add the day of the month and the number of month it is. That's nonsense! Why would you do that? Oh, to get 4, because you were looking for a reason to find a number 4. That's not how things work. You should be making predictions and trying to falsify them, not going, you know what would be interesting if there was a 4 in here, and then looking for a fucking 4! I can find you a 4! I'll find you a 4 anywhere! They're just lying around if you're looking for them!
I'm not too superstitious, but if you are, that might hit a little different for you. With that said, I gotta say RIP to Akira Toriyama. Although I ended up outgrowing my love for the animated series in my early teen years, the show always managed to find a way into my life through subtle references from friends, and who could ever forget the legendary power-up? I mean, shit, times were definitely simpler back then.
I know that's right.
But you guys know the drill. Be sure to drop your boy a like, share your thoughts in the comments.
Times weren't simpler. You were just a child and didn't know what was going on. Times weren't simpler. You were.
In our last video,
Okay, let's check in on Peter. This is relatively brief. I put it in the title because I didn't want anyone to think it was a super long Peter video. It's not. It's only 4 minutes long. But he is posted a video. Overthought says, Slaps Alphabet, you can fit so many conspiracies in this baby. Yeah, so this is from 2 days ago. If you haven't seen me cover Peter, Peter used to be pretty commonly featured on the channel. He was big into QAnon. I think he still is, at least the Trump stuff. He went away for a while. And now he's back posting again, so I don't know what's going on with him.
This is the final battle. With you at my side, we will demolish the deep state. We will expel the warmongers from our...
There's a Trump ad. I'm gonna skip it. You get it. Peter was showing a Trump ad. Fenakagami says, why is it weird that a creator would name his own creations in a way that would have a connection to themselves? That's like the most normal thing in the world, to create things that have a connection to yourself. Conspiracy theorists don't know how to be normal. Also, that wasn't the power-up, that was a charge up for an attack. The power-ups were the screaming, you idiot.
Trump's commercial for his campaign for 2024 is literally saying, this is the final battle. This is the final battle. It's the intro to this vlog, because the fact that not only is he talking about being a battle, but being the final battle, that says everything right there. 2024 is the most epic battle.
Peter, this is just literally the last time he can conceivably run. Like, if he lost this time, he wouldn't legally necessarily be disqualified from running, but he will be, like, 81 next election, so it's probably not practical. More so means that. But also, yeah, he's trying to amp up his base by making things seem incredibly dire because it's the basic strategy Republicans have been using for years, and Trump is just really good at using that strategy, and it's to try and make his followers think the world is ending, think that, oh, the communists are taking over if Republicans aren't in power.
Time period ever in human history. Well, who's battling? Well, we're already in a war, as you've seen. Looks like that ship was hacked and sent into the bridge. That's why it's a...
He's talking about the ship whose power went off and went into that bridge whenever it was, a month, 2 ago. Wasn't hacked to my knowledge. Isaac Inanimate, thanks for a 3-stream streak, says, keep up the good work, been loving the show lately. Thank you.
Perfect example of why we're in some type of movie level, historic...
We're watching a movie on the bingo card.
Crazy battle, and that ship to me is symbolizing that it's, in a sense, something you would think would only be seen in movies, but actually it's happening in real life. We're going to be in such an exciting but crazy...
Peter makes me sad because you guys know I've talked to Peter, not a ton, but you know, more than most of the people we've covered, and I think he has a difficult time distinguishing reality from fiction. As most of you know, he grew up in a cult, the Mooney cult, or an offshoot of the Mooney cult. He's still in it, to my knowledge, at least his family is, and I don't think he's not in it. So I just think he's credulous. He has a lot of magical thinking going on. He doesn't know how to discern people lying to him from truth very well. Pretty sad.
Crazy year. It's going to be apocalyptic like we thought 2012 was going to be. Actually, the apocalypse is 2024. But after the apocalyptic parts, after all the danger, it will be our salvation, because the old world has to be destroyed to build the new world.
The old world has to be destroyed to build the old world is, if I'm gonna be honest, not a great pitch. Maybe it's just because I'm not an accelerationist, but I don't generally believe that the entire collapse of a system is a better outcome than incremental change. That's just me, not a big revolutionary. Oh. But I don't know. Some people like a good reign of terror, I guess. Ask Robespierre. He's in that basket over there.
And the new world will be better, and that will be our salvation. A world where we're free, a world where we're safe. But to get to that salvation, we have to go through this hellish period, which is 2024. And it's going to happen the next 5 months is going to be the most intense part. Starting basically July. I think July to November is going to be the most intense parts of this year. We're really going to see a precipice. This is going to be the final battle, the biggest battle, like Trump said. It's going to be huge.
This is the ultimate showdown of ultimate destiny. Good guys, bad guys, and explosions. As far as the eye can see, and only one will survive. I wonder who it will be. This is the ultimate showdown. Ultimate destiny.
It is the basically like the Avengers, or the group of the greatest superheroes with all their powers.
Again, I say this as someone who also references media a lot to try and explain things and contextualize them for others and myself. I also reference movies and stuff, but watching this is like a dark mirror, because while I utilize those things as metaphors, I'm very aware of the difference between tropes in movies and the complicated reality that exists in the real world. You know, the world doesn't exist on the tropes and trappings of movies and books and other fiction, you know? Peter doesn't seem to be able to make that distinction. To him, movies are a perfect mirror echo of the real world, and they tell you truths that are secretly esoteric and hidden from normal people. It's a shame.
Going against the greatest villainous, powerful cabal of villains ever.
Cabal on the bingo card?
It's basically Team God versus Team Satan, but Team Satan has this cabal of powerful people.
Satanic on the bingo card?
And Trump's got a huge group of patriots, and these giant movements of people are like two titans, going to collide this year, and it's going to be pretty fascinating to watch. So I'm super excited. I want to vlog this whole experience so that you guys can go on this journey with me. The next 6 months, I'm going to be vlogging this. I'm going to be sharing what's going on in my life, how I'm reacting to all these major events that are happening, because this is going to be one of, if not the most exciting times in our entire life. And I think we should buckle up and prepare, but also be grateful. And also, you know, it's going to be exciting too, because it's the vanquishing of evil. Anyway, very excited about this vlog, and looking forward to explaining the whole story of everything that's going on and narrating everything that's going on, because it's going to be movie level, historic movie level events.
Historic movie level. Curiel says that band is actually super good. Lemon Demon. Good name. H-Beard says, what esoteric truth do you think Sausage Party gave us? I think it's that Seth Rogen isn't funny. That's a little mean. I actually like most Seth Rogen projects, but boy was Sausage Party bad. And I know they're making an Amazon series now. Fenekagami says, the Avengers aren't even special. Basically every named crime fighter in Marvel has been an Avenger. Hell, villains have been Avengers. Ooh, hot take. Trey says, people like Peter are the reason I fundamentally believe the efforts to understand these people are important. Peter is, as far as we can tell, an okay guy for the most part, but delusional and conspiratorial thinking makes normal life impossible for them. It's why your work and the work of people like you, Hannah, are important. I don't know about that, but I appreciate the sentiment.
Crazy things happen this year. I'm not the first person to say it. I'm the millionth person to say it. Everyone feels it. 2024 is the biggest year in American history. Either the United States goes down and is destroyed, and the world
I think Peter has said that about every single year since Trump's been in power and we've been covering him.
Goes down destroyed with it, or we win and the whole world wins.
Peter deleted the videos on his channel, by the way, his old ones, so the only way to watch his old videos now is through watching my videos covering them. So that's fun.
With United States. So get ready, buckle up, it's going to be exciting. Prepare and join me on this apocalypse salvation vlog journey. All right guys, see you later.
That's a shame. Peter had told me that he had started working a job, and I was hoping, you know, he was beyond this stuff. Maybe not practically, like maybe not, I assume maybe in his private life he was doing it, but I was hoping that distance from the content creation with it would maybe help him get some breathing room from the Trump conspiracies and maybe take a step back and rethink things, but guess not. Yeah, he renamed his channel again. Take a look at the bingo card real quick before we go on to the next thing. Bingo check. Hannah regrets something she just said. Hats off, overthought, what do you want me to wear? Illuminati, Freemasons, Cabal. Rounding error, numerology. Doesn't know what a coincidence is. We're all watching a movie. Bullet Crown, can do. Satanic. Is there anything else? Worrisome. Nah, I think that's it. Cool. Oh, yeah, I missed Gematria. I knew we had Gematria. Foolish, Hannah. Foolish. Gematria. There go.
What's going
This, I think, is literally just a conspiracy theorist trying to shill gold. So I guess shills gold on the bingo card.
on, guys? Dapu7 here. Raising the question and asking, what are you going to do when the US dollar fails and this whole thing goes down the tubes?
Probably gonna, like, put on some movies and just, like, ride it out till the end.
And for years, we've been talking about barter, using a barter system, or finding some other way to be able to exchange goods similar to barter. Well,
Oh, cool. I have a projector and a bunch of movies. So I don't know, if we can get the power going, or someone has a generator, I can show you some movies, and you just gotta give me some canned goods. Radiology says, your work is important. If you weren't streaming, I'd have to go through this post-fish supper slump by reading a book or something useless like that. Oh good, I'm keeping people from reading! Like the opposite of a library.
two things that I've mentioned before that I want to bring up here if you've missed it are these. This first one is what they call a Valcombi bar. And this is 100 pieces of silver that will break off for barter when you need it. So this is...
Why, again, if this is a post-apocalyptic scenario, what are they going to do with silver? Are they gonna smelt it? Like, at the point where gold and silver are valuable, you already have some semblance of society, right? Because you need to have someone who can utilize it, right? You need to have a village or something that has someone who can work with the material and use it to either make jewelry or something practical, I guess? But usually, like, gold is used in, like, electronics, which I assume in an apocalypse wouldn't be as big of a thing, not microelectronics like we have now that require, like, you know, really complex machinery that needs constant maintenance and stuff. I don't get it. Learn to farm. That will be a skill that would be transferable in a hypothetical apocalypse. Aaliyah says, I will become a can opener dealer in the apocalypse. Sounds good. H-Beard says, post-apocalyptic crypto is something we need to get on the ground floor of. There are unironically crypto bros who are like, when the US dollar collapses, you should have crypto. And it's like, if the US dollar collapses, I don't know if the internet will be around tomorrow. You want me to keep money in Coinbase? What are you talking about?
Say you need 10 grams to settle up a deal. You can break 10 grams off of this Valcombi bar. You can see right there, they all break off, and you can make your deal. Another thing that we've got, something newer to the game, is what they call gold backs, if you're unfamiliar with these.
Oh, no.
These are similar to, they look like dollars that are plated in gold. 4 states issue these. Utah, New Hampshire, I know Nevada's one, and they come in different sizes. As you can see, this has a 1 on it. They go to...
One what? What's the denomination? It's not a legal currency. One what?
5, 10, I think 25, up to 50. And they have different amounts of gold within the gold back. So technically, you could burn this down, melt it down to get that little bit of gold out of it. This has 1/1000th.
That doesn't seem very practical. Let's just start trading chickens again.
And it's only a $1 bill. And these go for around...
You'll bet those are novelty items. Novelty items or things designed specifically to scam people who fall for stuff like this.
Anywhere from $3 to $5, depending on where you're getting them right now.
Steve with the Q says, I'll take 1 gold, please.
They used to go for $2. As the price of gold increases, you can expect the price of these are going to go through the roof as well.
I'll take 1
But
gold,
these are just 2
please.
items here I wanted to mention that you could pick up and you can use for barter. Gold backs and these Valcombi bars, if you were unaware. They will help in a pinch. They'll definitely help in a trading system. I'm going to expand on this more in the future. I'll leave some links below so you guys can check this stuff out as well. This has been Dapu7. Hope y'all have a plan. Much love.
I hope so, Italian Shakespeare. Also, that doesn't count because I didn't say the thing. Oh god, what is this?
Hi everybody in YouTube land. Hope you're doing well today. Expecting the skulking and the lurking trolls to come out in their fiendish ways with their brains that are...
I did not rate geology, not yet. It will come up. There's a video later where it's gonna come up and I know I can't stop myself.
missing. Because they don't have a brain.
But
Where'd
not
you
yet.
get a brain if you had one?
Who is this? No one we've covered before.
Gravity is not a force. Let me repeat this. Gravity is not a force.
It can be conceptualized as a force, though, and it, like, is treated as a force in, like, Newtonian physics. Our understanding now has it basically as an effect of the warping of space-time. But you can treat it as a force, practically speaking, as a layperson. It's fine.
It is a concept. You cannot have a non-force force act on something. I'm sorry you don't have to like it. I'm sorry you feel that you gotta quote your mathematics and talk about NASA.
Is this a rebuttal? If I do this and make a silly voice, is that an argument in and of itself?
NASA special place? A violation of the second law of thermodynamics? Entropy would take place? The gas would fill the available space? The gas on Earth? The air...
The atmosphere is attached to the Earth via gravity, but we do lose a little bit every year. It's just not a lot.
Sphere? The air sphere? What would you do with a brain if you had one? You fucking retards. You don't even know where you
Oh, sorry.
are. You're so retarded. You're so filthy fucking sick.
I really wish conspiracy theorists were less shitty people.
Why are you breeding? You gonna make more retards?
Alright, 3 strikes. He is out. Moving on to the next thing. Try this one. This is from the Cabbage Guy. Cabbage Guy never steered us wrong. Christopher B says 39 minutes behind. You watching Yu-Gi-Oh? I have never seen Yu-Gi-Oh.
Hey guys. Some of you may have heard of this, but I thought it was an interesting bit of history, as I highly doubt the mainstream account that's presented. We're going to talk about the Bronze Horseman, an iconic statue of Peter the Great in St. Petersburg, Russia. Commissioned by Catherine the Great and sculpted by French artist Etienne Maurice Falconet, this the Great and sculpted by French artist Etienne Maurice Falconet.
Is that a self-portrait? Because he made himself hot, and I find that fucking hilarious. It's like he drew himself as the Chad Wojak. You get to do that if you can self-portrait, by the way. You can just make yourself as sexy as you want. It's not illegal.
This statue is very important as it is a symbol of Russian power and advanced engineering. The interesting part about this is not the statue, but its colossal pedestal, the Thunderstone, hailed as the largest stone ever moved by humans. But the whole narrative behind this is just very unbelievable. In 1768, a peasant discovered an enormous boulder near Lakhta, about 13 miles from St. Petersburg and 6 miles inland from the Gulf of Finland. It was called the Thunderstone because, according to local legend, thunder split off a piece of the stone. The
Thunder or lightning? Because one of those things is impossible and the other is simply unlikely.
gigantic stone, half buried in marshy terrain, was
Is that
chosen
just a weird translation thing? Is the Russian word for thunder the same as the word for lightning? Trying to figure out what the discrepancy is here.
to serve as the pedestal for the statue. Its original weight was apparently 2,000 tons and was carved down to 1,500 while being moved. It's now 1,250 tons and serves as the pedestal for the statue of Peter the Great. The initial measurements of the Thunderstone were approximately 46 feet
Oh
in
shit, there was the crown. I forgot to put it on. I apologize.
length, 23 feet width, and 30 feet in height. The story goes that Marinos Carburus, a Greek engineer, was tasked with the Herculean job of moving this colossal stone. Apparently, Carburus, who had studied engineering in Vienna, devised an ingenious
His
method.
last name was Carvers, and he was a stone engineer. Like, he did masonry with stone. Be great.
He instructed workers to wait for the
Peasants of the time didn't exactly discriminate between thunder and lightning. One accompanied the other and both scared and sometimes killed people.
winter when the ground would be frozen solid, making it easier to move the massive rock. The method involved dragging the Thunderstone over frozen ground using a metallic sled that slid over bronze spheres, each about 13.5 centimeters in diameter.
Yeah, that makes sense.
This primitive ball-bearing system was nothing.
I hate the way they arbitrarily apply primitive to things to try and, like, denigrate the accomplishments of past societies. Like, this is incredible. Was it a good use of time? I don't know about that. But is it an incredible feat of human engineering? And just, like, getting told to do a thing and then fucking doing it? That's pretty incredible. Why you gotta be shitty about it? Why you gotta be shitty to them? These people worked their ass off to do this, and now you're hundreds of years later being like, losers. Asshole.
Nothing short of revolutionary for its time, and was a century before the official date of their invention. We're told this whole operation was conducted without the aid of animals or machines, relying entirely on human muscle. There's an engraving that
Not
gives some
entirely, they're using ball bearings and other machines. What do you think machines are? Like, humans using the basic simple machines is how we have done things for most of human history. Did you not learn about that in, like, a physical science class in high school? Like, ramps and wedges and blocks and tackles and screws and all that shit? Levers? You didn't learn about this stuff?
details on the process. The stone was pulled by 2 capstans, and each capstan in tandem had a pulley, where the capstan was turned by a team of 30 men. So you have 400 men who were working tirelessly for 9 months to move it 6 miles, slowly inching the enormous stone towards the Gulf of Finland. At the same time, the stone cutters supposedly were working continuously to shape the
Thank you, Professor Strangefinger.
boulder even as it was being moved. There's a depiction
It's economical.
of the stone before being moved, and you can see how much was removed during the entire process. They also had to constantly assemble and disassemble the 100 meters of track used for the metallic sled. Despite the harsh winter
Can I give an example of something that's a more recent insane construction project to give a sense of, like, yeah, human beings, believe it or not, do insane things all the time. This was a construction project. I think this was, yeah, Bell Telephone. Sometime in the early 20th century, 1930, Bell Telephone, who was the monopoly in the telephone business before they got broken up. Don't worry, though. Happy ending for Bell. They've pretty much come back together now, and the monopoly is back. Anyway, one of their headquarters in, where was this? Indiana or something? needed to be rotated, so they moved the whole building while people were still working inside it, with no disruption to plumbing, electrical, or anything.
In Indianapolis.
They slowly rotated it. This is, of course, a sped up version. They moved the whole building! And at no point did phone service have to shut off, or any sort of power or plumbing. They just slowly moved it day by day. So yes, human beings do bonkers things when they have the budget to do it. If you're getting paid, and they're like, hey, do this insane thing, you'll do it.
Conditions and the sheer weight of the stone, they somehow made progress, they say averaging over 150 meters per day on level ground.
150 meters is actually pretty good for a rock that big.
To put this into context, this was equivalent to moving 250 6-ton African elephants. Once the Thunderstone reached the Gulf of Finland, they did something even crazier. Apparently, an enormous barge was constructed specifically for transporting the stone. This vessel was flanked by 2 full-size warships to provide stability during the voyage.
Makes sense. Ashley One Up, thanks for 20 months, says, Hannah, I'm sending the sub babies to live with you for a while. Fine. Don't expect me to love them, though. Italian Shakespeare with a link.
We should take Bikini Bottom and push it somewhere else!
So somehow they got this gigantic stone on the barge, and then they shipped it to its final destination.
I don't understand what you mean somehow. I would imagine it's the same way they got it traversed across ground with the ball-bearing thing that you showed.
After this journey from sea, the stone arrived at the Senate Square in 1770, making it 2 years to move the stone. Now on paper, it seems this may be possible, but when you really question it, a lot of things don't add up.
Well, the stone's there, so they did it.
Sure, we could possibly do this today, but it would
We certainly could. It would be easier to do today.
require cranes and powerful engines to be able to move something like that.
Yeah, but it would also be a lot faster than 2 years. We could do it the old way, it's just not practical or necessary.
And even then, it would be quite the accomplishment. So how did they manage to do it with primitive methods?
Again, slowly and meticulously.
Seems like a stretch to me to suggest they moved this boulder in this fashion with pure manpower.
Why? You're just incredulous without a reason. That's not a reason. It's not even reasoning. Just a feeling. Vibes-based conspiracy on the bingo card. Why do we call this guy Cabbage Guy? Have you seen the postcards of babies being grown in Cabbage Patch fields from, like, the late 1800s, early 1900s? He thinks that that's secretly telling that they did grow babies in fields, and then they, like, didn't tell anyone.
The feat was hailed as unparalleled by the journal Encyclopédique and astonished many, including the English traveler John Carr, who compared it to the greatest achievements of the ancient Egyptians and Romans. But think about it, even those ancient civilizations, known for their monumental constructions, often resorted to cutting massive stones into smaller, more manageable pieces. Could 18th century Russians have truly pulled off something even more impressive without advanced machinery?
Yes, their machinery was more advanced than ancient Egypt. Not as advanced as us, because linear time. Geology says, this guy just salty that they used brass spheres when they really should have been using frozen cabbages. True!
Interestingly, Falconet, the sculptor, initially proposed cutting the stone into pieces for
The cabbage is my favorite simple machine.
easier transport. But Catherine the Great, eager to showcase Russia's technological prowess, insisted on moving the stone whole. The decision, driven more by political ambition than practicality, makes it more likely to be propaganda. Let's also think about the conditions and tools available at the time. The workers were dealing with frozen ground, rudimentary tools, in a method that
Pretty sure in this case the frozen ground helped. Radiology says this guy. I just read that. Sorry.
while ingenious, was untested on such a scale. The sheer coordination required to keep the stone moving smoothly without toppling or getting stuck would have been a logistical nightmare.
It probably did get stuck at some point in the 2 years. I don't imagine it was smooth sailing the whole way. Again, it took 2 years.
And yet, the official account claims they succeeded, making progress day by day, week by week, month by month.
Have you never worked on a big project for work ever? And it just feels like you're getting nothing done, but you get a little bit every day? Yeah.
On one hand, we have an official narrative that paints a picture of remarkable human ingenuity and perseverance.
Mm-hmm.
On the other, we have a story so extraordinary that it almost defies belief.
No, again, you're just suspicious because you already believe in a bunch of other conspiracy theories that this would validate if this wasn't the actual truth. It's not that it's suspicious, it's that you are actively searching for things to back up the conspiracy theories you already believe. And if you can contort this enough, you can make it fit that narrative.
Could there have been unknown techniques or
He's into Tartaria stuff.
lost technologies involved? Or are there perhaps additional forms of assistance that history conveniently forgot to mention?
No?
Or is it possible that the story was entirely made up and the stone and sculpture was already there? There are some more interesting details. The pedestal today has some text on it that doesn't really seem to go with the beauty of the statue.
Again, that's your opinion, man!
The date given is 1782. There is an 1835 book called Guide to St. Petersburg that has a depiction of the statue, but for some reason the top lines have different letters, and the 7 looks more like a backwards S or a 2. Now it could just be a stylistic 7, as it doesn't look like the other 2, but it's still strange that there would be a different first line than the one we have today, as this book is discussing someone who had traveled to St. Petersburg.
It's possible they didn't remember exactly what it was and just drew out a memory whatever. Did they even speak Russian? Is what the thing says on the stone on the bottom even a thing? They also could have changed it later. It's an old statue. They might have changed the thing it said at some point, or at least replaced the lettering.
Now this is kind of crazy. So Peter the Great is known for a lot of things, but one of the most significant changes made by him was the reform of the Russian calendar system. Before Peter's intervention, Russia used the Byzantine calendar, which dated years from the creation of the world starting in 5508 BC. This system, deeply rooted in Orthodox Christian tradition, used the term leta to denote years. It was not only a reflection of religious and cultural heritage, but also a symbol of Russia's distinct identity from the Western world. The new year began on September the 1st, following a different seasonal and agricultural cycle compared to the rest of Europe. In 1699, Peter the Great decreed a monumental shift. Russia would adopt the Julian calendar, which was already in use throughout much of Europe. This reform took effect on January the 1st, 1700, aligning Russia's calendar with the Western Christian world, where years were counted from the birth of Christ, and the new year started on January 1st. There was then a new term for the year, changed to Gode. Now this is important because it would seem the statue actually signifies some type of reset. But more importantly,
maybe they just changed the wording!
If you look at the dating on the statue, it uses the old chronology dating term, leta. The correct way to use this date would be to use the new chronology term, Gode, which looks like this. But that's not what was used. Instead, it seems that the dates were actually forged. In leta, what we know is that the year 7000 would correspond to the year 1492 in the Julian calendar. Remember, the old calendar system, which counted years from the creation of the world, started in 5508 BC. To convert a year from this old system to the Julian calendar, you subtract 5508 from the given year. So using this method, 7,000 minus 5,508 equals 1492. It would seem that the 1, 8, and 2 were added later. We don't know exactly what the date is, but it would correspond to sometime after the 7,000s. As you can see, there is also a period after the 2. So if you drop the 1 or I, it's 7,000 something. There is an old photo from sometime around the 1880s, and the text and date looks different than it does today. The 2 at the end looks more.
I'm done with this guy. He's literally just talked about the fucking statue. Peter, the cult leader of Peter's church, is a rapper, as well as being a cult leader. And he did a rap about how everyone calls him a cult leader. Oh, he calls himself King Bullethead. That's his rap name.
Locked up in Jan 6 penitentiary, cause I'm a cult leader, roll of crowns, yes please, want Christianity onto the T. And my oh my, what a Christian to be, like the crazy loony moonies, whole day of the kings. Well, that'll be the end of deep state tyranny, and on the rubber make the cover we the people will be. Say I'm a cult leader, Gatling gun feeder, bullets and guns so we leave you beleaguered. Oh, I'm so eager, eat bars like rhyme eaters, papers rising out, comments whipped up like wife beaters, coming in hot, cussing up the evil plot, patriot.
Everything I don't like is communism on the bingo card.
Whips like black beamers, Trump train stream. I got no misdemeanors in that. It's over Rico, gotta intercede. I just wanna give them free what they wanna see in me. They wanna see me make a mockery of me, but it's really not the complicated investigated DC pedo cults. It's incriminating. Nobody raping kids on Epstein Island has been indicted.
His rap name is King Bullethead.
Not even a filing, cause to get away with murder body counts like sex workers, but God is gonna fire them up if I reverse. One stone ice cream won't be to me, locked up in Jan 6 penitentiary, cause I'm a cult leader, bullet crown, yes please, want Christianity onto that T.
And uses AI, uses AI on the bingo card.
Like the crazy lunar moon is gold there for kids, well that'll be the end of new state tyranny, and on the rubble make a come away the people will be. Oh, it's a situation, we got the revelation, rise of mind breaking nations. A godly revolution for those who overcome it with Christ. See, we're becoming the just, the wicked devils, and make this start running on an armed citizen. To call it the power, cause if all you from talking the phone, unless.
Yep, deep state on bingo.
If you in velocity, boom, in velocity, man, it's not pretty what God would do quickly. Na 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 na, hey, hey, goodbye. Cause it ain't no doohickey. Chitty chitty bang bang, flying around a wheel of Billy a judge.
Oh, if you don't know about this cult, the cult requires the members to like own guns and bring them to church. They're the church that everyone has guns. They have like their rifles and stuff in church, not just handguns, like rifles, and they hold them during the service. And his family member owns the town's gun shop. I'm sure those two things are unrelated.
But they will be, so let it be. Oh Lord, proceed with your will and deed. Cause if you wanna live free with your family, raise a gun and some chickens, but it just might be a racist.
That's how he's filming in the gun store. His family owns it.
Misogyny, cause you don't bend over Uncle Sam's speed. I'm like a rock and rebel, like fake doctors, but you gay pig. Ain't no coking over office, cause the feds say beyond phone, 100 by the common big guy. Cash and catch a shit, bring a black foot. Cause the deep state be loving all the black great and money in the bank, black red lock, keep on. And cause they play aggressive while they rape no fixes and make an aim go defend it down the dead and get rich. But Trump and worse than Billy, book shot, hit him some millions, but the crown came for Christ. Work straight trillions, we win. And don't be silly, send the devil back to hell, cause we overcoming him. Ha ha, we got family. Those stone vice dudes want me to be locked up in Jan 6 penitentiary, cause I'm a cult leader, bullet crowns, yes please, want Christianity onto the T. And my oh my, what a Christian turns to be, like the crazy loony moon is gold after case, or that'll be the end. Deep state tyranny, and on the problem, making trouble with the people of peace. Hey, ha, 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 hey, hey, hey.
Oh, we did a deal with it meme. You can't say that. I hate Twitch Times 2. Thanks for 16 months. Says, hey, Hanny, you remember Safe Moon? Apparently, they're making a comeback. Oh, great. Not on Twitch, you can't, Mr. Duck Sauce. I'm not telling what you can do in your personal life. Not allowed on Twitch. Sheesh. Yeah, he's got a ton of these. These are all raps he's done. He's got a whole Rumble channel with 2 pages full of them. Do one more of these before we move on.
And I will urge Congress to ensure that anyone caught trafficking children across our border receives the death penalty.
If you traffic kids, we gon' give you death row. If you traffic a kid, Trump gon' give you death row. If you don't know soldier, so you know, now you know. If you traffic a kid.
The Trump in the headdress is just one of the worst things I've ever seen, to be honest.
Trump gon' give you death row. If you traffic kids, we gon' give you death row. If you traffic a kid, Trump gon' give you death row. If you don't know soldier, so you know, now you know. If you traffic a kid, Trump gonna give you death row. We're talking death row records, dog pound celebrities. We talking about pedo rings, sell kids like growth.
We have a uses AI square.
The reason
The
of the
bingo
item
card.
and
Ashley One Up says, you'd think someone would notice the... Oh wait, how many is this? 2, 3, 1, 3... 10,750,000 or 750 million kids trafficked.
the shopping cart.
Maybe it was 10 million, 107 million. I can't read it. My ADHD isn't letting me count the number of digits in that right now.
Generosity, they sell them 5 times a day. Demon Mephistopheles, you defiling little kids. You in psychopathy, you rape with apathy, murder the child spiritually. Every day you're living hell, sold in directories to the most heinous devils, trafficking in these evil streets, selling split food dust, P-Funk singularly. We're selling children for sex 5 times and more daily.
I find it interesting that right-wingers are self-aware enough to know that they're such shitty people that the only way they can try and make themselves seem like the good guys is to paint their enemies as literal child rapists. Like, that's just how shitty Republicans are. They have to be like, no, 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 but our enemies are, raping children and eating them. Like, yeah. Maybe just stop being a shitty person and then you don't have to make stuff up about your political enemies. Charles in charge of our days and our nights. Charles in charge.
Hi everyone, just a quick disclaimer. Everything stated in this video is just my opinion. Okay, so a few weeks ago I did a transvestigation on Kate and Allie, and
Transvestigation on the bingo card.
this video did pretty good. I was surprised how many Kate and Allie fans there were out there, but I was pleased to see that. I used to love this show, but in that video, which I'll link here, we discussed that character in the back, one of the kids who played...
Who is this? This is a woman that transvestigates board game characters and TV show characters.
Allie's daughter. Her role, Jenny, is played by Allison Smith, and we kind of said, like, by the end of the run of this show, however many seasons there were, like 5 or 6, I think, she kind of looked like a grown man by the end of the series. So I'm telling you this because one of my subscribers, and thank you so much for watching and your comments, left this comment. Allison Smith was in a weekend special episode where she cut off her hair and pretended to be a boy. Not sure she had to pretend super hard to get a part in a play. A real girl would still look like a girl even if she cut her hair. The episode is called A Different Twist. You can read those comments under the Kate and Allie video. I went on to say, wow, that sounds so great, it's terrible. And she actually said it was a really good episode, so I decided to check it out, and I found it on YouTube. Okay, so A Different Twist is on YouTube. This was actually an ABC weekend special from 1984.
Noted. For VHS Vault Watch.
In this episode,
yeah, seen it. We've done days where we do after-school specials. I enjoy after-school specials. Corny and strange.
Allison Smith is playing this girl who's a good singer, and she wants to audition for the musical Oliver, but they are only casting boys. So here she is at the beginning, like looking like a boy in a wig, not gonna lie. And then she cuts off her hair and wears this disguise and totally looks like a boy throughout.
Does she not understand that, like, preteens are kind of like... I feel so weird even talking about, like, kids and teenagers like this. They're kind of like androgynous. They haven't gone through puberty. So their, like, secondary sexual characteristics have not developed. So there is not as much of a difference in terms of sexual dimorphism at a young age than when you are past puberty. Like, everyone knows this, right?
Throughout the rest of the episode. It's very disturbing, and it's a total mind F you, bleep, bleep. And, you know, this stuff is...
Gitara says, just join the stream. Happy Friday, everyone. Also, somebody doesn't know how to use screenshots or screen record. Yeah, that's unfortunate, but it happens.
It's made for kids. And
a lot of conspiracy theorists don't know how to use computers.
And my whole channel is... The main premise is creepy, weird stuff they make for kids, whether it's books, movies, TV shows, commercials. I just find it fascinating how badly, you know, they want to taint young minds, and it's an interesting thing to explore. But this episode, A Different Twist, is every bit as incredible as the viewer said. I would actually recommend checking this out, but just know ahead of time, you know, keeping transvestigations in mind. This is a boy who pretends to be a girl who pretends to be a boy. It's so crazy, right?
Please nobody show this woman Victoria. I think it might make her brain explode.
Definitely check out A Different Twist. But that led me to an idea.
This is why I wanted to watch this video. My hyperfixation was peaked here. This box set of after-school specials she owns is rare. This, Hannah mentions Blu-rays on the bingo card. It's a DVD, but we'll count it. This box set she owns is like $400 now on eBay. I'm so jealous of this creepy internet pervert and her collection of after-school specials. Just put it out there. I'm very jealous of this box set she owns. It's in like a little bus. Anyway.
Had this
yeah, Rob Lowe. A lot of famous actors and actresses were on after-school specials before they hit it big.
Creepy box set of after-school specials for a very long time.
If you think it's creepy, I will take it. I will take it off your hands. Please send it to me.
Probably between 10 and 50 years.
Again, this is like $400 on eBay.
50. I'm not even 50 years old. Probably between 10 and 15 years I've had this. I'm pretty sure I got it like on Amazon, or no, back then I feel like I got this at Best Buy. But here we have...
And now Best Buy got rid of their movies. RIP.
A school bus of after-school specials, and they're from the 70s and 80s. And I remember watching some of these and getting really depressed watching them by myself.
These separate, these ones, the DVDs outside of the school bus case are cheaper. You can get them for $40 to $60 each. And there's, I believe, 3 of them, so you could get them separate. The 48, around $100 to $150 probably. But the school bus, that'll cost you. MH Darkbeast says, you see the latest thing causing the James Gunn hating chuds to freak out? Oh, what stupid thing are they mad about now? What? Because of a fucking pride sticker? That's absurd. Unstable Deadbeat says, Hannah, maybe you should reach out to her and pretend to be someone who agrees with her and ask her to send you the box so you can check it out for yourself. No, I'd rather not lie and steal from people. I'd feel bad. Ashley One Up says, Hannah gets a time machine. She's gonna use it to collect rare DVDs. I feel called out, but it's true.
Oh, here's the years on here. You've got the 1974 through 79. And it tells you some of the people in them, and here's some familiar names from like 70s TV shows. Melissa Sue Anderson, Christopher Knight, Eve Plum from Brady Bunch, those two. Christy McNichol, who I did a video on. Yeah, I don't know that other one. On this set, there's 2 never before released episodes. And then this DVD is 1979 through 1986. We've got Rob Lowe, Dana Plato, Malcolm Jamal Warner.
If I do get the time machine, are you going to go back to the 60s and record the Missing Who episodes, aren't you? That'd be nice. Second Doctor deserves better.
I'm just saying the names I recognize here. Kirk Cameron, Robert Reed, who I didn't show you this gem. Robert Reed is driving the school bus on this box set. Whoever designed this is brilliant. I love that. And then here's the info on the back of the box. 26 episodes on 13 DVDs with 2 never before released episodes. But yeah, I know I watched like a handful of them, and I was just like, how many drunk mothers were there in the 70s? Like, so...
A lot. My mom was drunk, and it was the 90s and 2000s, and she managed a bank.
So many of them are about alcoholic moms or parents, and it just got to be a bit depressing. But then if we like think about it in a conspiracy way, were they introducing the kids to alcohol? You know what I mean? Like, why was
No! Kids already drank!
There's such a focus on that. But here's some of the episodes. I know...
You're welcome, Christopher B. You call it ruining. I call it fixing.
Oh, Christy McNichol is in the pinballs because I came...
Soon you'll all talk like me, and then the world will be my oyster.
Came across that one on YouTube when I was looking for a different twist. Schoolboy Father. Yeah, let's see what else.
Where's
Tough
the
Girl.
day my kid went punk?
Oh, I bet... I bet there's a good transvestigation right there. The Night Swimmers actually sounds interesting. But I thought maybe I could transvestigate some of these after-school specials, but I kind of don't want to watch them by myself. So I have a friend who like usually watches creepy stuff with me, but he's being really mean to me right now. So I was wondering if anybody wants to somehow watch
Is he upset that you're transvestigating the Operation board game guy?
With me? Is anybody like on Discord, or is there any way that maybe we could watch these together and then I'll do a transvestigation? But let me know if you like the idea of after school special transvestigations, because these shows are creepy enough. I used to love them just for the creep factor, but
I don't think they're really that creepy. We've watched them on stream before. They're interesting. They're mostly just melodramatic stories about kids dealing with alcohol or drugs or peer pressure or whatever. You know what after-school specials are.
The fact that now they're probably all transgendered, like teenage kids, makes it even better. Like even weirder, you know what I mean? So I think I'm gonna do these. I think I'm gonna do these transvestigations. Let me know your thoughts on that. So I wanted to talk about that, and I also wanted to like really recommend you watch this A Different Twist. This isn't one that's in my box set because it was an ABC weekend special. I guess there's a difference between the after school specials and the weekend specials. Here she is on the payphone. I don't want to give any spoilers, but go ahead and watch this and let me know if you like my idea for these transvestigations.
It's the weirdest after school special I've seen. Ooh. Where's my copy? I don't know about weirdest, but like favorite is Sarah T. Portrait of a Teenage Alcoholic, because it stars Linda Blair and it's directed by Richard Donner, who did episodes of The Twilight Zone, as well as famously Superman 1 and the Donner cut of Superman 2. It's well made, like it's well directed, and it's frankly kind of hilarious. Like, I don't mean that in a way that it's like badly made. It's well made, but it's just that uncomfortable funny when you're like, wow, Linda Blair getting home from high school, and then she immediately pours a bottle of fucking vodka for herself in like a coffee mug and starts drinking it. Like, it's uncomfortable funny. Like, it really just shows you a really fucked up situation in a pretty stark way, and you just go, what the fuck? So anyway, that one's pretty good. Would recommend. I think that one's on YouTube if you're interested. You can watch it on YouTube, I think. We watched it on the show once, at least in part. I don't think we watched the whole thing, but we skimmed it. Yeah, this can count for popular media as evil.
Actually super excited about it, and my Girl Crush series is still in full swing. I need to get back to those. I just wanted to like reiterate that my channel really is about creepy stuff made for kids, so I feel like these after school specials...
It's interesting that that's how she sees her channel, when her channel is literally just a transvestigation channel. It's so weird to me that she doesn't seem to understand what she's doing. Okay. Alright, let's move on. They have a set on Amazon for only $200. Only $200? That's a lot. That's a lot. I cannot justify that, I assure you. I will add it to my list, though. Because maybe someday I'll win the lottery. Oh. Anyway, back to it.
In the forest that they can't see the trees.
That didn't start at the beginning. Sorry about that.
Mankind has mapped the human genome, created an artificial heart. In 2021, we extracted oxygen from Martian carbon dioxide, the first time a natural resource has been extracted from another planet for human use. We built a 17-mile-long particle accelerator to smash particles into each other, particles smaller than the head of a needle. It seems there is nothing science can't answer, except one question. What is dirt? Science can't answer that question.
What is dirt? Not dirty. What is dirt? Dirt is a mixture of tiny rocks, decayed organisms, living organisms, air, and water. The rocks, mineral grains, and soil have a variety of different chemical elements in their makeup, including oxygen, silicon, aluminum, iron, calcium, sodium. The living or formerly living portions of dirt are carbon-based. Dirt is also known as soil or earth. Dirt can also refer to a filthy or soiling substance such as mud, dust, or grime.
More specifically, what is humus? What is humus? Humus is the part of soil that nourishes life.
What is humus? That's just gonna bring up hummus. That's gonna bring up hummus. That brought up hummus. There we go. Humus, soil component. Humus, non-living, finely divided organic matter in soil derived from microbial decomposition of a plant and animal substances. Humus, which ranges in color from brown to black, consists of about 60% carbon, 6% nitrogen, and smaller amounts of phosphorus and sulfur. As humus decomposes, its components are changed into forms usable by plants.
Humus is made up.
Jronimus says literally this with a link. See what it literally is.
Look! Can your...
Sorry, wrong tab.
Look! Can your fortune telling explain that?
Can your science explain why it rains?
Yes!
Yes! Yes, it can!
Of very large molecules whose structure we cannot describe. Scientists don't know what it is. After
Why is he just lying?
200 years of research, here is how Wikipedia describes humus. Humus is difficult to define because it is a very complex structure that is not fully understood.
Did you then go on to read the rest of the article?
In fact, for over 100 years, we've used chemical extraction to research the humus, a method known since the 1930s to actually destroy the very molecules we're trying to identify. Humans have yet to identify what is in their dirt. Zero progress since the 1930s.
Yeah, that's definitely just not true. Who is this guy? This is the fool's gold guy that thinks fool's gold is real gold. He's literally the titular fool in fool's gold.
In climate change, understanding how our soil works could help us remove carbon from the atmosphere. Yet, funding for soil science is practically non-existent.
Yeah, that's definitely not true. Agriculture, like, science is a big thing. It's a big industry, so no!
All of our efforts to define the organic matter in soil have been fruitless. But did you know? The tools to identify these molecules have existed for over a decade, but they're not being used. Why?
I'm so curious what he thinks these tools are.
Fully understanding our soil is well within our capabilities as a species, but our scientists are so deep in the forest that they can't see the trees. The truth about soil is not meant to be discovered.
It's just a big secret.
For you are dust, and dust you shall return. Genesis 3:19. We can understand humus without science by looking at the word itself. Humus is taken from the Latin word humus. In Latin, humus means soil, dirt. Adam is taken from the Hebrew word adamia. In Hebrew, adamia means soil, earth. The man called Adam was created when God formed man of the dust of the ground. Therefore, Adam was created from the soil, which is actually reflected in his name. Is the same not true for us? Does our name not reflect our origin? Humus, which means soil, earth, is the root word for human. And we are made from the earth.
Human etymology. The word human can be traced back to the Latin word humanus, which is derived from the Proto-Indo-European root digam, meaning earth. The root is also associated with other words related to the earth, such as humus. Alright. It's not incorrect word origin as evidence, but it is word origin as evidence used incorrectly.
The earth and will return to the earth. The word human wouldn't exist without the word humus, meaning without the soil and the earth, we would not exist.
That means that the idea that humans come from the soil is deeply, like, culturally rooted. That doesn't inherently mean that it's literally true. It just means that people described it that way. It's like how planets literally means wandering stars. They're not actual stars, but it was named by people who thought they were. Things can be misnomers.
The two are the same. By the time humus finally becomes humus, it is impervious to decomposition. It can easily last over 100, even 1,000 years, and there isn't a microbe on Earth that can process it. That in itself is simply amazing. A molecule that cannot be destroyed, will not break down.
I mean, is it a single molecule, or is it just a broad definition for any organic matter that's, like, decomposed in soil?
Humus is thought to have originated from the slow decomposition of ancient trees that were compressed over time, that eventually became soil, and eventually became coal. But these large molecules that we have yet to identify in our soil, they weren't present in the trees at the time this process began, some 300 million years ago. They weren't present. The process of decomposition is one that breaks down molecules into smaller and smaller sizes, eventually just becoming minerals that nourish the earth. The fact that there are very large molecules present in the soil that has gone through decomposition means that there is a biological process responsible for the presence of these.
I was gonna say, why does he think that chemistry can't happen and things can't change and recombine in different ways and interact? He thinks things only ever break into smaller pieces?
Minerals, and that process has yet to be identified. We don't know how it works or what it is. And those that steer the scientific community, those that control the funding, they haven't led science towards figuring this out. Quite the contrary. Instead, they've steered them away from the truth, towards methods like chemical extraction that actually destroys these molecules. Why would the captains of funding, those responsible for funding the work and the equipment that science has access to, why wouldn't they want to figure out what these molecules are, how this process works? Well, that, ladies and gentlemen, is a secret. There is abundant evidence that shows previous civilizations have been essentially wiped off the face of the earth. There's evidence that buildings were turned to mountains. An entire race of
that tree... No, that's different, actually. Never mind.
giants gone.
Giants on the bingo card. Statues big, therefore the things they're statues of must have been big. In fact, I've seen the Lincoln Memorial. I can't believe they let that fucking giant dude in the White House. How did he even fit? The Lincoln bedroom must be massive.
In the late 1800s, we found photos of massively built-out cities with no people. Photos.
Yes, civilizations die. Cities die. Yeah.
Taken at high noon showing the cities empty.
Doesn't understand how cameras work on the bingo card.
What?
Old cameras took a long time to expose the image. So if you were moving, it wouldn't necessarily capture you, so the only thing in the image that was captured were the things that were still the buildings.
Happened.
And land and, you know, other stations.
And to the people.
There's a person right there who was probably standing still for a decent amount of time.
In the beginning of this video, I mentioned several of humanity's extraordinary achievements in science. Curiosity has always been the driving force behind our progress, and we keep pushing boundaries. Our scientists are manipulating particles at the subatomic level, unraveling the mysteries of the universe. Let me repeat that. We are unraveling the mysteries of the universe. That makes the lack of progress in the science of our soil that much more confusing.
I grew up around, like, my high school, for instance. My high school was near a place where Michigan State University has a big agriculture department. And I didn't go to school near Michigan State University, but I did live in a quite rural area and went through a pretty rural area, like, to get to school, even though that was more close to, like, town. We'd go by, like, the big Michigan State University farms that were there just specifically for research purposes. The idea that they aren't currently doing research on soil and agriculture drives me nuts, because I'm in a state with a college that has a huge agriculture department. Like, agricultural science is a thing. The soil's a pretty important factor.
I'd call it a red flag. A huge red flag. And the idea that it is being actively suppressed by those who control
it's not.
The funding is not that wild an assertion. Curiosity drives scientific endeavors, and I can tell you that our soil, the very thing that brings life to this planet, has been on the minds of scientists for centuries, paired with the fact that we have the equipment to identify the structure of humus and its molecules leaves no excuse that we haven't figured it out yet. The fact that funding is non-existent for the research of humus simply
I guess I
doesn't
don't even understand what specifically he's saying they don't know.
make sense. We're taking soil samples from Mars yet haven't figured out our own soil. Well,
what about it?
I'm going to share with you why there has been zero progress for nearly a century, despite having the tools to do so. I believe it is being actively suppressed. What I'm about to share with you will explain why your field has been neglected. You see, you aren't supposed to figure it out. Think about the idea that we may in fact be in a simulation, and we are aware of previous civilizations that are no longer with us. It's as if they've been completely wiped off the face of the earth. Now, think about the functionality of the simulation. When an era or an age is set to come to an end, how does the simulation prepare for the next era, the next age? What does it do with the inhabitants of the ending era? Well, could it be the ultimate circle of life? Could we, by means I couldn't explain to you, but I suspect some sort of transmutation takes place, and the inhabitants of the ending era could be returned to the earth?
It's Soylent Green? It's just a Soylent Green conspiracy? I'm honestly disappointed it wasn't more creative. He just thinks we're the soil. It's people! Sure, Racheology, I guess it depends on who it's from, but I'm not against it. Chitara says, also, while they may not all be scientists, don't farmers tend to know a lot about soil in order to produce food? I have a home garden and I've had plants die because they didn't vibe with the soil. Correct. Farmers do know about soil.
Could all be turned to soil, ready to nourish the earth, provide the
Honestly, I hope I get turned into humus. At least I'll be useful.
nutrients to feed the next inhabitants of the next era. Now, I'm not talking about decomposition. I'm talking about something else entirely. There are myths in our past that we can find clues in.
I'd like my body to be buried in a field, and then I'd like goats to eat the grass that was grown from the soil that I fertilized, and then I want those goats to get milked. And then I want you to make delicious goat cheese out of the milk from the sheep who ate from the field my body was buried in. 100% Hannah cheese.
The story of
Hannah mentions cheese on the bingo card. Racheology with a link. Take a look real quick.
Here's a poem about my cats. Ready, gang? It's called My Cats Are What the Tories Hate. Here we go.
Bittergrin says, depending on the state, you can
My
have your
cats
body
are what the
composted. I did know that.
Hate. Since they're both disabled and gay. Also, they're only half white. So maybe immigrants. Who can say? Both of them are celiac, so wheat is not a treat. They also have a chronic virus, which means they can't go in the street. My gay disabled celiac cats eat weird food and do not roam, which means there's one last thing the Tories hate. My cats both work from home. There you go.
Lord Shiva and his always closed third eye. However, it is said when it opens, all will be turned to ash. There are even accounts
Poor understanding of Eastern religion or philosophy on the bingo card.
in our past of the sky literally opening up. There are accounts of machines being visible in the sky. So I'd like you to imagine that the world as we know it has stopped. The sun hasn't been seen in 3 days, and the sky has been electrified. It's as if you've been inside of a plasma globe. It's going haywire. And then you hear a sound. You were inside playing Go Fish with your family, eating canned food, The power has been out for 3 days. There is no news, no information at all as to what's happening, yet you hear a sound. It's so loud that it draws everyone outside to see what it might be. You see everyone. Every neighbor on your block, man, woman, and child, old and young, everyone is outside. The sight is so mesmerizing, it has you transfixed, and one cannot describe what they are seeing, for it was beyond our imagination. And just like that, a blast of light, and that's it.
Is ice wet? Ice becomes wet, generally, because then the outer surface is covered in a slick layer of water.
This era, this age that you have been a part of,
Was that a trick question?
is no more. All the inhabitants have reached their end. Their souls and individual personalities are en route to whatever stop is next. Everyone has left their avatar behind,
Their avatar?
as each and every person has now been returned to the earth, ready to nourish the next civilization that will live on earth. Completely blind to the nature of their reality, they build and create and play in parks and plant trees in their yards, having no knowledge that those that came before them had been turned. At the moment that blast of light erupted from the sky, everything alive was transformed, not to ash, but to soil. The humus, known as humanite. It is
Ashley, one up. You're thinking of The Monsters Are Due on Maple Street.
us. I'd like to share with you the evidence that I found that supports that idea. These vessels that we experience our world through, our bodies, they are not ours. They belong to the earth. And you are not your body. Our bodies serve crucial and necessary functions while we inhabit them and once we leave them.
Somber pictures of clumps of dirt. This is where we're at. He's really dramatic pausing on this shit, huh? He thinks this is like a beat. Like our mind is blown as far as he is concerned, and we need to take a second. What is this edit? What was that? What the fuck? You talk? Nope, we're just 6 more minutes of dirt. 6 minutes of slow, dramatic shots of dirt. Why not? I'm gonna go use the bathroom and get some water real quick. So while I do that, Chair will tell you about... Oh, let's see, what will Chair tell you about? Chair will tell you about The Destruction of Atlantis, Compelling Evidence of the Sudden Fall of the Legendary Civilization by Frank Joseph. That sounds legitimate. It's in a book, so it's gotta be true, right? Be right back. Yes, thinks evidence is self-evident on the bingo card. Good call. Rule about fire safety. Hello. I'm Seepy. Was the 4400 a story about some human products getting regifted? I liked the 4400. I'm sad it got canceled before there was an actual, like, full finale. Sad face. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Didn't even remember the 4400. Is anyone familiar with the concept of remote viewing? Remote viewing is the idea that you can psychically, like,
hello everyone,
close your eyes and see a place that you're not. So you could, like, scry, basically. If you're familiar with the concept of, like, scrying in D&D, that's what they think you can do. So anyway, this group of conspiracy theorists thinks they're about to scry on Charles Schwab, who we all know conspiracy theorists love. So let's see what they, quote-unquote, remote view of Charles Schwab, and I'm sure this is very real, and not just their fantasies and imagination, that they all decide to have fun pretending is real.
and welcome to another round with the Future Forecasting Group. I'm your host, Sean, and I'm joined by Daz, Edward, Naeem, and Dick. Derek isn't going to be able to join us live again tonight. He has obligations for his family, so his session walkthrough is going to be spliced in by our editor. You guys were looking at Klaus Schwab, World Economic Forum. And yeah, as I was about to say, Dick is going to get an extra gold star for his session.
Dick got gold star.
All did amazing.
There we go, folks.
Yeah.
That's
He
my
freaking
whiteboard.
named the guy.
You will worship the Dark Lord.
But you guys all got amazing data. In fact, there was...
What's astonishing is the CIA spent millions on remote viewing. Was that a situation where they heard the Soviet Union was doing something, so they were like, oh, we better do it too? Or was that homegrown stupid?
Such strong correlation in these sessions. I was getting all 5 of you hitting on multiple themes. I think a lot of people are going to be familiar with him, but Klaus Schwab is a big guy over with the World Economic Forum. The remote viewer...
Ashley One Up says, I'm remote viewing right now. I'm getting a vision of Donald Trump eating a deep-fried puppy. It must be true.
...is to observe...
That sounds right.
Klaus Schwab and his true goals with the World Economic Forum. And we've got some information that's pretty interesting there for our subscribers. And the remote viewers to observe Klaus Schwab and who he answers to and holds influence on. So do you guys have any thoughts you want to say before we get into the session walkthroughs?
Well, that makes my session very interesting.
Yes, it does. Yeah, there was actually several enlightening things that came out of this that we can go into later. But
yeah, a lot of cool stuff. This is going to be fascinating here. So I got to say, this is one of those sessions where I was like, man, I'm just really loving this session. So this is where the whole thing began here, was this location. And something here felt, location is specific, it's important, it's an active spot. There was a lot of people here and there was a lot going on. This was really, the thing was like all this activity was going on. And inside of this, this building and this structure. It even felt like parts of the buildings were being remodeled or being worked on. I mean, it was all about this whole upgrade idea. It was like something was being rebuilt.
Night, Cosmic Cats.
The great rebuild right there. Mm-hmm. The structure feels like it's being upgraded and the people are working. This particular time that I'm experiencing is like some type of new era for people and place. And I had all these rewords, replay. I had everything except for the Great Reset. Replace, remodel, rebuild. reconstruct, replacement, replenish, remove.
It's wild to me that these people are basically doing free association, but think that it's magic. They're just using their imagination and free associating and think it's magic. How interesting. How do you get to that point? Stone Corbell says, I'm assuming they're going to be like, oh wow, I'm seeing Charles Schwab talking to Satan. But like, even if he really was an evil dark priest who was in regular contact with the literal devil, what are the odds he's doing that right now and not like eating lunch or taking a piss? You don't piss while talking to Satan? I need to call HR, I think. Satan's watching me pee, and I guess he's not supposed to.
Move. All the rewords were coming in. The people believe and are working together. They're building and they're fortifying. Once the people start to believe, then they become strong together and unified. This individual seems to want to click into gear and be too busy to look back. How long before the wheels fall off, though, I wondered. I'm not getting a sense of that. This is like the beginning of an empire. The goal is 1,000 years. Oh man, I'm getting choked up even going through
Getting choked up reading his own fan fiction.
this. So
who doesn't?
I was compelled to draw the emperor. It's like a return to a Roman era. These, in quotations, we shall forge a new governance. We shall create the greatest civilization known to man in history. Oh my God, dude, I got goosebumps reading that.
So Charles Schwab was in the middle of like a villain monologue and you caught it and wrote it all down? Convenient.
Yeah, good stuff there. Let's have Daz maybe do his.
Okay, yeah. I have to be honest though, guys, I know hardly anything about this guy. Very ego-driven and centric. And he always feels like he wants to be center stage. There's a power thing with this life. And I also started.
You're right. It's Klaus Schwab. I don't know why I keep saying Charles.
Weird sexual stuff as well. So he was sexually uninhibited. I feel I was looking at a past target, but also feel it had a future base to it. So it was split in the past and the future. Again, this is my ideogram for life. Again, just reiterating, it's a male with divided loyalties. Very political feels this life. He feels American, but with a strong connection to Europe.
How does someone feel American psychically? Is it just the gunshots in the background track of the brain?
This is the leader, a project leader on something, feels official or governmental. And a very chess-like strategic feel comes with this target life as well. Manipulation, lots of moves, lots of counter moves. Very political, but also social with it. Very much like a CEO or a president feels this.
So CEO or a president. That's a pretty wide group of people that you just said there.
It feels bad. It's huge. It's ominous, global, dark, damaging, and it's an event situation. It's almost like I can feel the storm clouds from this gathering right now. Feels like a very sobering, very serious announcement, devoid of any emotion from this person. So it's very scary, very impacting. It's future based, and it feels like this announcement is going to come in like 2025, late in 25 or early in 2026. And I did not like the feel of this at all when I was picking this up. So it feels like something bad, maybe even something to do with war or deceleration of war or something like that. And then I tried to work out, because I kept getting the word manipulation come up quite a lot. So I broke that down into what this meant. Lots of groups funded to tank everywhere globally, and it's all about seeding stories in social press and TV. Suited men, PR types. They have hundreds of millions. Washington connected, and they're very devious. And it felt like
I don't understand why this is a flow chart.
A web or network which is overlaying noise with one aim. I'll put it there, yeah, and then I ended it.
Thank you, Daz.
I guess as I said, I've only heard snippets about this guy. I don't look too much at the dark people, so I don't know.
Can't blame you. Naeem.
And yeah, I'm gonna assume this is like Klaus here, because this felt more like a Fall Guy. Like he's exposed to the public. I even got the sense like this guy appears on TV, on television. He'll end up taking the blame. He's exposed. He may even, I get the sense that he's, well, I guess some people are probably after him, prosecuted and chased, on the run.
Has any empire lasted 1,000 years? I guess that's kind of a ship of Theseus argument, because, like, what do you consider the Roman Empire, for instance? Because the western part of the empire collapsed sooner than the rest of it, and, like, the Holy Roman Empire, like, claimed to be the continuation of the Roman Empire. The Catholic Church itself has its origins in Rome. Like, yeah, what do you consider the empire? You know what I mean? Remnants of it? Some sort of direct lineage? People who just claim to be, you know, the descendants of those people? I don't know.
Almost like a fall guy. He's taking, or may take, the brunt of the blame or punishment if something happens. So I put people sit at a table or a board meeting. It's like a council. So that's your World Economic Forum right there. Executive, you know, like a meeting of the board. Public opinion. They're talking about public opinion. There's outrage and outcry. They're making big promises, but it feels like a Trojan horse. Almost like a misdirection or a distraction. A sense of moving the chess pieces. Checkmate, you know, getting in position there. Opinions are heard, decisions are made. It's like a council of advisors. I don't think this is Klaus Schwab. I think this might be who he answers to.
That's him! That's him, officer! You think we can make an identification based off this sketch? There he is. The evil person in charge of all conspiracy theories. Has anyone seen this man?
Because I started seeing this someone else here, and this felt like someone who's very rich, like billionaire rich.
Time to wake
and
up,
I see
Mr. Freeman, and smell the ashes.
him in an office.
He's smoking.
And the sense here is like head honcho, like this is the top guy.
His name is Lucifer.
Slams his
I like that he's got a bookcase behind him. That's evil.
fist on the desk when he's mad. He has a hot temper. At one point he was yelling at someone.
Cigarette smoking man got hair plugs. Oh my god, it's Elon.
And he was not happy. He pulls strings. He's a financier, so he's like funding behind the scenes. Like mafia, he's feared but respected.
I thought the smoking man got killed by a missile launcher.
In the sense there's like, get it done. Very, very interesting.
I like that the smoking man in like the finale of the original X-Files gets literally blown up by a bazooka, but then in the reboot he comes back and he's just kind of got a burnt face, and it's like, you exploded! You exploded! This is up there with like the doctor in Halloween 4 who comes back after Halloween 2 after he exploded with Michael Myers and he's just vaguely burnt. Stop exploding people if you want them to come back in later sequels. You explode, you can't come back.
Yeah,
Dr. Loomis, thank you. He was named after the character from Psycho, Loomis.
Thank you, Naeem. Definitely. Lots of good stuff there.
Got a lot of
Marcel Paul, thanks for a 7-stream streak. He got better.
Indication of a lot of whoever this is has had a lot of women in their lives. One would appear to assume based on this data.
Zane says it's fiction. You're fiction.
Another woman entering a very nice apartment with wait staff, like a mistress. I see them in bed together. This person is present with royalty. I see a king wearing regalia, and they have mutual respect for each other. With these two investments, we're like a rock, unmovable, one says to the other. Foreign investments, I see an Asian-style building, Japanese, and an
Asian-style building. He's seen Godzilla, you see. He knows a pagoda when he sees one. Bittergrin says, wait, was Billy Loomis from Scream named after that character? Yes.
The only reason I say Japanese is because as I was panning across, I saw two sumo wrestlers in the background getting ready to wrestle.
Because it's Asia, so they must have had sumo wrestlers for entertainment. It's weird that he's being racist and he doesn't understand he's being racist, because as far as he's concerned, this is just a real thing he psychically saw, but in reality it's his imagination imagining something that he's like, ooh, what is subconscious or whatever is like, Asian, what does Asian entail? And his brain pulled out sumo wrestlers?
Something malfunctioning and not working correctly. Overall, it's a sense that this is like a somewhat stern, dark individual with the Jekyll and Hyde potential for exhibiting a split personality.
And Dick, let's go through your, you had a couple different sessions. Let's go through yours.
I did a whiteboard session that's right up there with anything I've ever done, and we'll publish that separately. I want to play just the final 5 minutes, like the climax of that, and then we'll go back and look at the paper session that led to that moment. So this is the culmination of my blind live whiteboard session. Big head.
How much of this is just fun drawings?
And like I said, I saw that pendant that he wears, the medallion.
Oh my god, he got the Eye of Agamotto!
And sometimes he wears Star Trek shit. He's a
based.
Goofy guy.
What do you consider Star Trek shit?
Who gave him the power? Who put him in charge? Would the people that he works for, do they know how fucking weird he is? Do they permit that?
Does your family know how weird you are?
They humor him.
Did he get that medallion from Mystery? Yeah, unfortunately, Schwab could only make it to the 3rd episode of Pickup Artist, but what are you gonna do?
Power him.
You just couldn't get the negging down.
They allow him. Are they? I don't know if they're as weird as like.
Ooh, full whiteboard session available to our private members. So give them money so you can listen to this guy's fan fiction. Fun.
He got kind of weird on us, but we'll let him go with it.
That was great, Dick.
Okay, so let's look at the paper session that got me there. And there's a lot of corroboration between my paper session and what everybody else got. So,
A lot of corroboration between our shared narratives that we're all backing each other up on and shaping collectively as a group.
Bring up later, Sean.
Tons of corroboration.
You see him on a screen with a backdrop, but something's not as it seems. There's either makeup or a mask.
It's funny because nothing is really corroborating anything as much as it's just not necessarily contradicting anything. They seem to think that a lack of innate contradiction must mean that it's confirmation? That's interesting. Huh.
Or plastic surgery or a body double. There's a public in a video version of him and a private version. This guy's a freak in private. Now there's a picture of him that
Is this real or just someone's dream? They think it's real. It's just their imagination, though.
Is, I think, fake, but it's in the consciousness of him wearing little fetish stuff.
So to be clear, you closed your eyes and thought about this Schwab guy, and you saw him in kink paraphernalia, and that's a psychic vision you were having of what he was doing, not your imagination. Okay.
People he works for know he's a little batshit. Okay, then I saw I think that
he's a little batshit, he says after drawing a complete stranger in bondage gear.
This is an astrological chart. I don't know. Edward could help. Edward, you had astrology in yours. He follows astrology. He avoids things based on charts. He eats weird supplements. I got off into this
Yeah, that can be conspiracy theorist tells on themselves. That's
notion of weird food. He's delusional, but this
hypocrisy on the bingo card for calling anyone delusional.
is accepted and fostered by his superiors. And then I thought, he looks like that. So that's my...
He looks like Dilbert. He kind of looks like Dilbert just found out Scott Adams is a huge racist and he's like sad.
paper session.
But that last bit was, man, I don't think they're that happy with Klaus. I think Klaus is on his way out.
Yeah.
I mean, he's an older dude. He'll die at some point, as we all will. He looks like Rupert Murdoch. Old dudes look alike.
Idea too.
So is that what you got, Sean? You didn't work it, but you saw all our work.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't work this one, but I saw your guys's work. Well, yeah, let's take a look at the corroboration that you guys had, because you had a lot. Yeah, so the number of themes were numerous.
Themes or corroboration? You're all sharing in the same mythos in the first place. You all share a collective conspiratorial worldview that comes pre-packaged with these ideas about Klaus Schwab. Of course you're going to share the same themes because you're collectively drawing from the same well of ideas. Yes, spurious symbology on the bingo card. I think we already had it, but sure.
And as you can see here, you've got, like, for power and influence, all 5 of you got something that related to that. Center stage came up 5 times. The manipulation, the anger issues, the dark personality. So yeah, tons and tons of corroborating data. Thank you guys
That's
for...
That's not corroboration! What in the world? This is so foolish. This makes me angry at the foolishness on display. These are all adults. They should all know better.
Interesting project to sink my teeth into as an analyst. This one was kind of fun to dig through.
It's always fun to work a target, and then I see one of Edward's sketches, and I go, you were there too.
Yeah.
We can go correlation isn't causation.
Yeah. So, yeah, this is a good target. Very interesting guy, interesting target. Was very well tasked. Great data by all the
Ashley, 1-up. Can I see your card for bingo?
viewers. Double blind, really good analysis. We were running on all cylinders, all of us.
Yep.
This is there's stuff to learn from this. There's a lot of stuff to dig through, and some collateral research will be interesting. Yeah, good job.
How did humans get as far as we did? I genuinely don't understand. The human mind is so bent towards foolishness and superstition. Transphobia, correlation isn't causation, spurious symbology, poor understanding of philosophy, and we're all watching a movie! That's a bingo! Congrats, Ashley. You are the bingo winner for today. Let me write your name down real quick, as soon as I have the thing. It's around here somewhere. I had to move a bunch of stuff. Okay, so now stuff's all over the place. Gotta find a pen. Alright, you're written down. That is our official bingo winner of the day. We'll still play for fun, but Ashley's the winner. Gift to someone, perfect. That was a really painful hiccup. Ow. Okay, let me cross your name off since I just did that. Very kind of you, Ashley. I'm sure. See who got it. Grey Knight Art. I'm sure Grey Knight Art appreciates that. Let's see what is next. Ho 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 ho.
In our last video, we discussed Operation High Jump and the US Navy's investigation into a secret military base in Antarctica in 1947. Unfortunately, they did not discover a direct location of any facility, but they did engage in a losing battle with
This channel uses creepy AI-generated video.
mysterious circular discs. Clearly they knew there was something there. Leading this expedition was Admiral Richard Byrd, who told President Truman and Naval Intelligence about his losing expedition with these mysterious crafts.
Oh,
After the meeting,
the vomit. I just want to vomit. Look at the weird, smooth faces. Why?
Naval Intelligence led Admiral Byrd to another meeting, where they told him during World War II, the Navy secretly spied on German aerospace corporations by sending
Just
American
look for actual, like, historical photos of things.
soldiers to Germany and
Or even stock footage. You don't need to do this.
work in these German corporations, pretending to be Germans loyal to their nation. But they were Americans, collecting intelligence on what was secretly going on in the German government before and during World War II. What they discovered was absolutely mind-blowing. They relayed intelligence information back to the
I love that really awkward forehead line. What is that? It just looks like someone took a marker and right there.
US Naval Intelligence, who deciphered their codes, and it told them there was a mysterious, possibly multiple mysterious, inhuman or foreign creatures leading the German government. Creatures who may not be of this earth. When Admiral Byrd was told this, he told them about the creatures he saw inside these craft during
Oh, damn it. Reptilians on the bingo card.
his Operation High Jump mission. But there was more, a lot more. Naval Intelligence told Byrd that their spies discovered the Germans were in Antarctica before World War II. Long before World War II, possibly decades. It appears that the secret societies with their occult rituals channeled or communicated with extraterrestrials who gave them the information on how to build anti-gravity technology. At some point, they made
Believe sci-fi technology exists on the bingo card?
direct contact with these beings, who instructed them to Antarctica, which would
Hydrate.
be a safe point for their people to be free and build a new society. What these beings didn't tell them is that their society in Antarctica would be under their absolute control.
Thanks anonymously. It's funny that the armor on this reptilian is textured a little similar to the Ice Warriors from Doctor Who. That feels a little plagiarism-y. For those who haven't seen the Ice Warriors, Ice Warriors, Doctor Who. Their armor also has a sort of reptilian. See? I'm assuming Doctor Who images were in the training data set for, this AI.
American spies in Germany also discovered that these reptilian-like creatures believe this planet belongs to them. Their history tells them they have lived here for millions of years, but moved into underground caves and caverns inside the Earth, because the atmosphere on the surface became unsuitable for their immune system. As thousands
That
of
doesn't really make sense. Why would it be fine underground?
years passed, they evolved into an underground advanced civilization, building out large caves and caverns for their people that housed thousands. Eventually they expanded to Antarctica, where they discovered an entirely different humanoid race of giants, with elongated skulls and very physically prowess.
Oh, they're doing the crystal skulls thing. Okay.
These creatures today are nicknamed the pre-Adamites, those who have been here before.
Not a very catchy name.
For the biblical times of Adam and Eve and the Garden of Eden. They believe they have been here longer than the reptilians and believe this territory belongs to them. It was right there that these reptilian creatures then decided to use the surface Earth humans, specifically the German government, to expand their territory into Antarctica. Admiral Richard Byrd and the American spies in Germany postulated that our world was not what it seemed to be. With very little evidence, they began to believe our Earth may be hollow, with caves and caverns that extend to the Earth's deep core.
With very little evidence, he says. What do you think you've said?
Modern science believes the Earth's interior is composed of 4 layers, 3 solid and one liquid. Not magma, but molten metal, nearly as hot as the surface of the sun. But many explorers, such as Admiral Byrd, and various military and naval intelligences through their research, have come to many theories about what could be going on in Antarctica and how there could be beings that live deep inside the Earth.
Gitaro with 50 bits says, on the outset, I think we always knew people would use AI to push conspiracy theories. Unfortunately, confirmation bias will make this slop seem like evidence. Yeah. And as these tools become cheaper and more accessible, it's gonna get worse. Gonna get worse.
But the deeper question
I picked a really bad decade to start doing this shit.
is, how did these secret societies manage to communicate with these otherworldly creatures? Are these secret societies in Germany using a deeper science to communicate with these beings that helped them create these anti-gravity technologies? Is there a deeper science and physics the Germans tapped into to create these technologies? And how many other governments and their secret fraternities are also engaged in paranormal experiments and possibly in communication with otherworldly beings? We can assume after World War II, other governments, especially Russia and America, began to experiment with this science and deep physics the Germans were involved in. But all this will be explored on our next show. But back to Antarctica. Sometime before World War II, the reptilians helped the Germans build out a military base deep in the Antarctic ice. They helped them bring equipment and manpower. What the reptilians didn't tell them is there were remnants of an ancient civilization already there. The reptilians watched from a distance to see what the action and reaction of the German soldiers would be. Then, out of nowhere, large humanoid creatures appeared and started attacking the soldiers face to face with their fists and weapons. The German soldiers began to shoot at these creatures and throw grenades at them with the little artillery.
Oh, what is even happening? Oh, I hate AI video where stuff like morphs and you can't tell what it is. My brain hates it.
Weapons were a very little match for these mysterious inner Earth creatures with their large swords wearing their royal purple armor. Then they pulled out their own long-ranged weapons and started firing. The battle raged on for a short while back and forth, with face-to-face bloody combat mixed with distant firing, grenades, and mysterious energy laser-like weapons.
Wait, hold on.
With distant firing, grenades, and mysterious...
I feel like the guy in the back shouldn't be shooting his gun that close and behind his fellow soldiers. That's gonna be friendly fire. That's unsafe. That's bad discipline.
energy laser-like weapons.
Hey, it might not be Starship Troopers uniforms, it might be Power Rangers Lost Galaxy uniforms. You can see the other effects disappearing as the other ones came into frame. There it disappeared. Did you see that initial explosion dip out? It just stops. Whoop, there it goes. Oh, that popped in. That pops out. That, oh god.
Then, just like that, these mysterious creatures vanished. The battle was over with smoke and bodies lying everywhere.
I'll give Birdemic this. The birds looked like shit, but they looked consistent the whole time. They weren't randomly morphing into different shapes.
The German soldiers were confused. They spoke to their commanding officers who told them they won. Don't worry, let's clean up the bodies, heal our injured personnel, and we will go over the details of how we won later. But the commanding officers and their reptilian benefactor knew exactly what really happened. The reptilians told the German generals there would be a fight that is needed to test our strength for future operations. The reptilians made a secret deal with the pre-Adamites to test each other's soldiers in a quick battle, a respective battle with no winners, only to see their strengths and weaknesses, and weapons tests. The deaths from the pre-Adamite soldiers were their robotic clone soldiers, and the German soldiers and personal deaths was due to the manipulation of the reptilians. Some of the generals asked the reptilians how many other ancient civilizations live here. Will this be a problem in the future? The reptilians, as they always do, lied and said there should be no other problems.
Just like those damn reptilians always lying.
If there are, we will deal with it ourselves. The generals became very comfortable and more dependent on these reptilians. What the reptilian
H-Baird with 40 bits says, when hearing about the various world wonder weapons the Germans were experimenting with, it's important to understand that as the war went on, lots of crackpots tried to get funding for things that would never work. German radar and sonar technology was way behind the Allies. They were further ahead in rocket technology, but the idea that they were super advanced technologically is not a blanket truth.
didn't tell them is that there are multiple different humanoid races that resided not only in Antarctica, but many other cave layers all over the world. The reptilians told them they are descendants of the dinosaurs, a higher, evolved, more intelligent version of them. They said extraterrestrials and extra-dimensional beings have been visiting your Earth for millions of years. Some built cities and left them abandoned. The reptilians told them your school systems have left out so much about the history of your planet. Mankind today was not the first, and definitely will not be the last humanoid or alien creature to reside on this planet. Even though the reptilians were using the German soldiers and personnel for their own gain, they still managed to re-educate them and help them build out a city base, expand their territory, and construct more weapons and anti-gravity vehicles. Eventually, their main goal was to construct enough vehicles to expand their territory off-world, creating the world's first space program, or in what conspiracy circles would call the first secret space program.
Gotta check in on the secret space program, people. Ashley One Up says, all lies. We know what happened to the dinosaurs. They flew off to the Delta Quadrant. True?
With all other Earth governments not having a clue what was going on in Antarctica, their base would be called New Swabia, or Secret Operating Base 211. In our next episode, we will be discussing Admiral Byrd's independent trip to the North Pole, not Antarctica, but the Arctic, and finding another advanced but very different civilization there and what they told him.
What a nightmare. Channel's just gonna pump out crap. Same. Oh no, they got
It was almost 9 years after the events of Operation High Jump, when Admiral Byrd and the U.S. Navy were
the
capable of
creepy
understanding.
alien lady in the thumbnail. Let me see the alien lady. I don't get to see that.
Do you regard black magic as being purely fictitious, or is there some truth in it?
Some truth. 100% truth. There is nothing fictitious about black magic. In any
Deep Lord says the Navy didn't just decipher Nazi code. We captured a sub with an up-to-date Enigma machine. It surfaced to abandoned ship, and 8 U.S. sailors rushed aboard as the Germans were leaving, disabled the scuttle charges, locked themselves in as it sank, fixed it, and brought it back to the U.S. It's in Chicago and the only surviving U-boat. When the U-boat captain woke up a few days later from a head injury in U.S. custody, he didn't believe his ship was taken until his office shit was given to him.
way whatever. It is a fact. It is a fact which has existed for several thousand years. I mean, when we talk about black magic, we are talking about Satanism, necromancy, alchemy, witchcraft, the worship of Satan.
Welcome back to my latest video, everybody. Today I wanted to bring you a very, very important one that is of a topic that we've been discussing quite a while on this channel. And hopefully this video is going to help flesh out some ideas that we've discussed previously, ideas that may have confused you or just left you feeling a little bit lost. Now, what I am referring to specifically here is ciphering and tumbling. Today's video is called The Science of Ciphering. Now, I know I have already shown you guys how to tumble and cipher words in previous videos, but we have never really got into the nitty-gritty and the actual theory behind it and why it is so important. And most pertinent of all is how it actually works and why it works. This is going to be the key in this video, the how. I know many of you will think I pull some of these things out of thin air for no reasoning or any real logic behind my thought process, but I'm hoping this video will shed a little bit more light on my personal thought process when I'm coming to some of these decisions, give you a little bit more logic behind my claims. because I can assure you that everything that I've ever tried to tell you or teach you can be backed up with solid evidence. So today's video is going to evidence the science of ciphering and tumbling and show you why it is an integral part of our language. And if you ever want to understand the true meaning behind words, then ciphering and tumbling is something that you really, really must get to grips with. So if you've not already watched my previous video on tumbling and ciphering, I would suggest watching it before.
I'm gonna move on. This guy's dry. And I need moist. What's this one? Let me try this. Tried this. We can look at the bingo card real quick. We already got a winner, so people can't win, but I'll let you know. Let's see. Hannah mentions cheese. Uses AI. Spurious symbology. This is Marxism, socialism, communism. Believe sci-fi technology exists. Vibes-based, or no, incorrectly believes evidence is self-evident. Vibes-based conspiracy, I think. Giants. Dimension beyond our own. Oops, grabbed one from the spot. Correlation isn't causation. And it mentions Blu-rays. Staggering levels of hypocrisy. Popular media is evil. I think we had The Matrix, or someone said something along the lines of The Matrix. The Deep State. Reptilians. Conspiracy theorists tells on themselves. For understanding of Eastern philosophy and or religion. Aliens did it. Is that it? Is that it? Transphobia, transvestigation. Oh, I think that's it. That's just the MGM logo.
Compass points to true north. Every compass points to true north. Every compass is drawn there for a reason. There are no coincidences. Every compass points to the center of the earth. The earth is flat. If you follow
Flat Earth on the bingo card.
The North Star, you will reach the center of the earth, where the astral jet comes shooting out of the Holy Grail at the center of the earth. This green...
The astral jet comes shooting out?
Astral jet, the Aurora Borealis. You were birthed in this world, and you must be birthed out through Mother Earth's womb.
It's parallel universes.
If it's flat, how is there a center? They mean center as in the North Pole. He's talking about the North Pole, so if it was a disc, he means like the center of the disc. Like a bullseye.
And right now you're on the wrong side of the fence. You need to enter, everyone enter her eye zone at the center of the flat earth plane where the Aurora Borealis is coming out. And then you're going to pass into the land of perpetual twilight. It's right over there at the end of every compass. It's one side of a light hole is a black hole, and at the very center of the flat earth plane is the Holy Grail, where the transfer of information and light happens. This is where we're going to drink from the living waters and then pass into the land of perpetual twilight. It's right over there at the end of every compass.
You're blind, deaf, dumb.
legally dead. There's a way to get out. Every compass is pointing to this holy hole. Jesus can't save you.
This holy hole.
Jesus is the sun above your head, and you need to get to where every compass is pointing to. This is where you'll become an exclamation character. You'll become immortal.
You're in the land of the dead. Everyone here is controlled by their desires. They see nothing of truth. There is a barrier above your head. It is the dome, the firmament. We need to get to the Holy Grail and restore the balance and gain our powers back and bring forth heaven on earth. The earth is a mother and it has a womb, and she is calling us home. The earth is fixed. Know the truth.
This is my hole. It belongs to me. Or no, it was made for me. Junji Ito.
To shatter that highest, hardest glass ceiling this time.
Yeah, she was referencing the idiom of the glass ceiling, referencing women getting into positions that they formerly were not allowed, or at least were not ever before.
Thanks to you, it's got about 18 million cracks in it.
I'm very excited for Doctor Who tonight. H-Bird says, the Earthosi giveth, the Earthosi taketh away.
I know we have still not shattered that highest and hardest glass ceiling, but someday someone will, and hopefully sooner than we might think right now. So I guess I'm up against the highest, hardest stained glass ceiling. And it may
My mother is very proud.
be hard to see tonight, but we are all standing under a glass ceiling right now. We just put the biggest crack in that glass ceiling yet.
I'm gonna Pokemon Go jump off a building.
Just moments ago, Hillary Clinton appeared at the convention by breaking the glass, wall? Oh, so close to the proper metaphor. Jimmy, let's help her out here. Let's break the glass. We just broke this dream.
Is this just, is he gonna talk at all after this, or is this all just gonna be clips from things? Holy shit.
Read out for a minute.
Okay, good luck with that. See what's next.
Project MK Ultra was a human experimentation program implemented by the U.S.
MK Ultra on the bingo card.
Central Intelligence Agency, intended to develop procedures that could be used to psychologically manipulate or brainwash individuals or unsuspecting.
I feel like when conspiracy theorists, reference Clockwork Orange, they forget. Should I spoil Clockwork Orange? I feel like they forget that at the end of the movie, they hint at that the conditioning is wearing off, and that it's not some sort of permanent solution, and that the government was foolish to think it was. Like, there's a lot going on in that movie, but do you not remember that sting at the end, where he can listen to classical music again, which signifies at some point he will be able to commit violence again? A bit of the old ultra-violence? No? Okay.
Populations. It was
the movie's like 50 years old.
Covert continuation of scientific experiments conducted by German scientists during World War II on human subjects during interrogations with hallucinogenic substances such as mescaline, with the stated goal of eliminating the
Now I got Singing in the Rain stuck in my head.
will of the person being examined. The CIA project was a continuation of these earlier Nazi experiments by exploiting the advances made by the numerous German scientists who were hired to work for the US as part of Operation Paperclip. The post-World War II American MKUltra program used numerous methods to manipulate its subjects' mental states and brain functions. In addition to high doses of psychoactive drugs, such as LSD and other chemicals like scopolamine, without the subject's consent, the CIA used
In the
electroshock.
book, he's recounting all of it, and he's living a normal life with a family. I haven't read the book.
Hypnosis.
And honestly, I think I would not want to. It's like American Psycho. I really like the movie, but like no part of me wants to read the book. I've heard the book is so graphic, and it's like, that's fine. Like, I'm not gonna judge someone for liking extreme horror books, but I don't know. It's just not my thing. Which is funny, because I like the Saw movies. I could enjoy that. But a book where you have to, like, read... I don't know, watching is sort of passive, but if I'm reading it, then it's like I'm actively like, I don't know.
Sensory deprivation, isolation, verbal and sexual abuse, and other forms of torture. MKUltra's scope was broad, with activities carried out under the guise of research at more than 80 institutions, aside from the military, including colleges and universities, hospitals, prisons, and pharmaceutical companies. That said, the attempts at psychological manipulation was not restricted to individual experimentation, but implemented on a large scale to influence public behavior through the infiltration of various forms of media, including film and music. John Homston, a retired CIA agent, has admitted on national Russian television that the CIA was behind the creation of the 1980s hip-hop scene and financed major hip-hop acts including NWA, Africa Boombata, and Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five.
A guy said it, so it must be true.
The government at the time spent, quote, big money, serious money, on this covert operation destined to further division and corrupt the American youth to nihilist, anti-establishment, and anti-American ideologies.
Pointing out that the police harshly treat your community is nihilistic, apparently.
He explained in a half-hour interview broadcast on national television.
Racist disbelief of historical achievements, yeah.
Famous hip-hop songs of the legendary hip-hop outfit NWA were even scripted by a team of psychologists and war propagandists of the CIA. F the police, and When I'm Called
You can say fuck on the internet. That's fine.
Off, I Got a Sawed Off, Squeeze the Trigger, and Bodies Are Hauled Off, and other
Hbeard says, who needs MKUltra when you can get all that through Facebook?
nihilist and anti-establishment lyrics were intended to unleash a wave of cynicism towards authorities, promote the use of heavy
There was no other reason for cynicism towards authorities, by the way.
drugs, and entice the youth with revolutionary counter-establishment ideas. The retired CIA agent claims the social engineering maneuver was extremely successful. Quote, "We understood at the time that music was a powerful means of propaganda to reach the youth," explained the 77-year-old man.
This is basically just the plot of Josie and the Pussycats, the movie, which is good, by the way.
Our mission was to use teenage angst to our advantage and turn Generation X into a decadent, pro-drug, and anti-establishment culture that would create
No one liked drugs before rap and hip-hop? What?
uprisings and further division within society. We even infiltrated mainstream radio to promote their music and reach millions of people every day, he admitted, visibly proud of the accomplishment. For many of us in the CIA, infiltrating the 1980s hip-hop scene was one of the CIA's most successful experiments of propaganda to date, he acknowledged during the interview. The retired CIA agent, who was granted a Russian residence permit in 2011.
Anyone who uses decadent as in a non-food context is probably a Nazi or a tanky. So kind of a Nazi.
Also claimed Lior Cohen, commonly known as the tall Israeli who runs hip-hop, is a CIA asset.
Ugh.
When it comes to engineering culture, no one touches Lior Cohen, Homestead admitted. He ended up promoting rappers such as Jay-Z and Kanye West, and more recently brought Migos and Young Thug to prominence. Some experts openly admit hip-hop nihilism, which was expressed in the use of
The stream boss health is low.
harder, more self-destructive drugs like heroin, cocaine, and
Yeah, anti-Semitism on the bingo card, I think.
methamphetamine pushed United
Overt.
States President Richard Nixon into the war on drugs, a campaign of prohibition of drugs and foreign military intervention, with the stated aim being to define and reduce the illegal drug trade within America and around the world. Quote, the chaos we caused in America helped the government justify overseas
No, we
wars
didn't have overt already.
of plunder to middle America. The country wouldn't be where it is today without hip-hop.
Of course, hip-hop is not the only musical genre that has been infiltrated by the CIA, and
Why is Johnny Depp in this? He's not a musician.
certainly not the first.
I mean, I guess there's multiple people. There's, okay, about half these people at least aren't musicians. Okay.
Many popular musicians of the second half of the 20th century, like David Crosby, John Phillips of the Mamas and the Papas, and Frank Zappa,
Not the Mamas and the Papas!
grew up on military bases. They also resided in Los Angeles, in a military intelligence base on Laurel Canyon.
Plenty of
where they
people grew up on military bases. That doesn't make them CIA assets.
were allegedly involved in the CIA's MKUltra program, a mind control operation whose real focus was to produce or at least manipulate the 60s counterculture scene. Jim Morrison was one of the earliest to arrive. He was son of the U.S. Navy admiral in command of the warships involved in the false flag operation known as the Gulf of Tonkin incident of 1964, which was used to justify the U.S. involvement in the Vietnam War.
There's a conspiracy out there about Laurel Canyon. Now, Laurel Canyon is out in California, and there was a Air Force watchtower out there back in the late World War II area, back in the 1960s. And back then they had a studio there. Now this studio had a sound stage, a editing stage, a animation editing room. It had everything. Now this place, I guess, was used for the atomic testing footage. So all that footage was taken to this studio in Laurel Canyon and was edited there and was processed. So after they got this, they reviewed all the footage from the atomic testing. Now what's really strange about this is a lot of musicians came out of this place back in the 1960s. Actually, all of those hippie musicians that you hear actually came from Laurel Canyon. Now, a lot of people say that these musicians had ties with the military and with the studio up
Famously, hippies love the military.
in Laurel Canyon, which was an Air Force base. So, as the Vietnam War was going on, this hippie movement out of Laurel Canyon.
Why would the United States government promote anti-Vietnam War sentiment?
Started becoming very popular.
They were pretty famously not big on anti-Vietnam War sentiment. Ashley One Up says, you heard it here first. Hippies are a psyop. Yeah, apparently.
And in fact, Jim Morrison's father, Stephen Morris, was a very highly naval officer, very high ranking, and he was actually part of the Gulf of Tonkin, which started the Vietnam War. So as this was going on, his son, Jim Morrison, was becoming very popular in the cultural movement. A lot of famous artists came from there. Even the
I feel like pointing out that a lot of boomers' parents were in the military is a pretty duh moment. Like, yes, their parents served in World War II. A lot of people joined the military during World War II.
Beach Boys.
So their children, statistically, are likely to have parents in the military.
Came from there. Now, the Beach Boys, got very famous back in the day during the whole hippie movement, but also Charlie Manson was very popular too. Now, Charlie Manson was
I don't know if he was very popular. He was pretty popular amongst one member of the Beach Boys, but...
a songwriter. So he would actually write songs for the Beach Boys. Now, if you don't believe me, here's an actual song that he wrote, and this is, in fact, him singing it.
Yeah, but they didn't get used because he was bad. He was really bad.
Give up your work. Come on, you can't be. I'm your kind, oh, your kind, I can see. Walk on.
So, that right there is, Charlie Manson. So he was very popular with the Beach Boys and with the...
He was popular with one of the Beach Boys who basically joined the cult. The other Beach Boys were not fans of that.
Their groups, and of course we all know what happened to Charlie Manson. So it's very, very strange, guys, and what I'm trying to say is this could possibly be an MK Ultra type of experiment on society back in the day. This is what was a way to control the youth. They weren't really sure what was going to happen with the youth during the Vietnam War when it was all going to happen. They were probably afraid of retaliation, maybe people getting violent, actually. So they needed some kind of opposition control.
Controlled opposition on the bingo card.
And maybe these musicians were a part of that. So Laurel Canyon, if you haven't heard about it, go ahead and look it up.
The Laurel Canyon compound was recently purchased by actor and filmmaker Jared Leto for $5 million. The Army Air Corps officially built this top-secret movie production studio in 1947. Military training films and top-secret Department of Defense documentaries were produced, including a series on above-ground nuclear tests in Nevada.
Okay.
That said, celebrities like Marilyn Monroe and Elvis Presley are also said to have worked there, signing non-disclosure agreements. Oh, and Timothy Leary lived across the street. For decades,
basically, he's just saying, wow, there's this place in LA, and it's a facility that got used for, like, filming and editing things. Yeah, I bet there's a lot of those in the LA area. It's LA. Ashley One-Up says, America has a big history of doing questionable things in secret. They also have a much better history of being found out. Groups of people literally can't keep a secret to save their lives.
So-called anti-propaganda law prevented the U.S. government's covert broadcasting arm from delivering politically deceptive programming to American audiences. But in 2013, that came silently to an end with the implementation of a new reform passed under the Obama administration as part of the National Defense Authorization Act, which included an amendment that nullified the Smith-Mundt Act of 1948, which explicitly forbids information and psychological operations aimed at influencing U.S. public opinion.
Does he think that the American government wasn't producing propaganda between 1948 and whatever year this was, 2013? We literally have a show on Public Domania where we just look at old propaganda films. At no point did the government stop producing propaganda.
Critics claim that the act also unleashed thousands of hours per week of government-funded radio and TV programs for domestic U.S.
Puka with 195 bits becomes the new stream boss. Hell yeah.
assumption in what has been criticized as a green light for politically motivated
Oh God, of course he does this.
social engineering and U.S. domestic propaganda efforts. The U.S. government has been pulling the levers behind the scenes in Hollywood for decades, from funding the 1954 animated movie Animal Farm to more recently Transformers and Iron Man.
The U.S. government, if you want military stuff, like actual military equipment and locations to film at, the United States government will do so and provide those to you if they get say in the script. Genuinely a fucked up thing that happens.
Propaganda comes in many disguises, including patriotic musical lyrics, comic books, and even abstract expressionist art. Sometimes the spin is so subtle, audiences don't even notice the CIA or military intelligence are calling the shots. American operatives aren't the only propaganda artists in the world, of course. They just happen to be the most sophisticated. And propaganda
I don't know about
is
that.
most impactful when people don't even think it's propaganda. And in actuality, the government has influenced thousands of
I mean,
movies,
Animal Farm definitely is anti-Stalinism at minimum.
TV shows.
It's anti the Soviet Union as it existed in the time of the author. Let's put it that way.
Programming targeting children, portraying certain racial populations as born oppressors, and promoting a woke ideology and antisocial behaviors.
This guy's a white supremacist, by the way. I don't think I said that at the beginning. This guy's name is Robert Sepher, and he's a white supremacist.
Politicians, activist groups, and cultural institutions, including universities and companies like Disney and DreamWorks, are being weaponized because they're deliberately inserting propaganda and social engineering into their content to perpetuate their far-left agendas, including...
Ashley One Up says Animal Farm is both anti-communism and anti-capitalist, depending on your point of view. I would say broadly, my perspective is definitely it's a story about the concerns of upending a system and how when a certain group of people gains power, they tend to try and hold on to that power and use that power for themselves. It's the danger of removing people from power without changing the system, or just adopting a very similar system that still has hierarchical, like, designations of, like, power and influence. Stuff like that. Toreador says, a short Peter update.
A cultural decline in traditional values and justifying a demographic shift that mainstream media denies is happening. As an anthropologist, I feel it's my responsibility to bring attention to the blatant attempt to derail the strength and fortitude of the family unit by eradicating national identity, concepts of ancestral heritage, racial and cultural affiliation, free speech, and even the biological notion of gender, in an effort to replace a sense of pride in local community with a globalist Marxist persona that is easier to manipulate and govern by an unelected authoritarian sect of totalitarian communist dictators. My name is Robert Sepper. I'm an anthropologist. My published work is available.
Again, he's just a white supremacist piece of shit. He has videos and stuff about how he thinks the out of Africa understanding of, like, where Homo sapiens came from. I wonder why he argues against that. I'm pretty sure he literally tries to argue that different, like, racial groups, quote unquote, of, like, human beings evolved separately. Yeah. He's, not good. He's a big piece of shit. Anyway. So thanks everyone for hanging out. Fun stream. Good Friday. Not Good Friday, but a Good Friday. Let's see who we're gonna raid, shall we? Thanks everyone for hanging out. I'm not sure what time I'll be streaming tomorrow. A friend of mine is having a birthday and doing like a big board game day with a bunch of friends. So I will be there at some point. I'm not sure. Maybe I'll end up not working tomorrow. Not sure. I'm gonna try to though, so it just depends on how that goes. So, cool beans. Raid 27 club. What is 27 club watching? Alright. Have a good night, everyone. Have a great weekend if I don't see ya. I will be doing a patron-only live stream this Sunday, so if you'd like, make sure you join the Patreon. It should be good. Hey, Marantz, how's it going? Sorry you're catching right at the end of stream. Hope you're having a good one. I don't know what GameStop's doing today. I wasn't looking, but good luck. Phyllis Filler says, yas, work, queen. Doing my best. Alright. Night, everyone. Bye-bye.